Elon turn off with Twitter? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been the most reliable. It's, you know,
He
I
does
went
that,
I went
man.
I went to go like just kind of look through my update my main feed, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, I meant to follow up with this other person. Let me just search for their Twitter account. You go to search, and it's like just Elon's account, and you're like, I blocked him. Why is he showing up as the first before you type in anything? Why is Musk the default search? But I guess if you spend over $40 billion for a social media company that's maybe worth half that, then
But the top search for me is some guy named Juan Carlos Bagnell.
he's a pretty cool dude, I hear. Oh,
I
what?
hear.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to another episode of the Best of Our Week, where two old tech nerdy guys talk about the best tech that we've used this week. Maybe we
Yeah,
also cover some news and some headlines,
a
just
little
as
bit
the
of it.
week's gone by. And joining a lovely crew here in the chat, I'm seeing Michael and Farhan and Barry, Steve, Malik,
Yep.
Scoop, Oliver,
Hey.
Vince. I think um I think we're in for a good show. Hold on, I just want to make sure maybe I just didn't have that wrong. I'm gonna see if I just open the search on Twitter if I still get Elon
Elon.
Musk.
That would be funny. Like it's like, yeah. Yeah, I got Elon on my mind.
So
I
yeah,
got Elon on.
so I was I
Oh, on your
was
phone. Okay, yeah,
I
yeah. Let me
was
try.
searching for Peachy because I just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
shoot him a message just to
Oh,
say
Scott.
hey,
Yeah, yeah.
and I have Musk blocked, but that's before you start typing any characters. He assumes you must be looking for him.
Yeah, mine is a little different. Mine
and
is
and I feel the point of blocking an account on a social media network should be I don't want to see that account. It's
yeah,
highly unlikely that I would block and then search for that account. And my
because
search for that account starts with me typing nothing.
exactly, because they know that you got Elon on your mind, man. They know they're like this guy has a very much a bromance going on there. But yeah,
No,
no,
TK, can I tell
absolutely,
you, it
sir.
has been so old fashioned.
Hmm.
I love the vibe at Mastodon. It feels
Okay,
like the beginning days of Web 2.0. It feels so clumsy to get started. You've got to like pick a server, kind of Discord style, or sort of like it's a subreddit that you like. But then once you're up and running, it feels so much like old social media.
okay,
And it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
nostalgic and it's a little sort of broken and backwards, but none of this stupid manipulation of your content, of your feed. All of the services just sort of work the way that they're supposed to. The person who runs my server, I had an issue where WordPress wasn't properly linking to my home site,
Oh,
somegadgetguy.com. And I reached out to him, and the person who actually owns and operates the server that I'm on, he was like, "Oh yeah, if you try this, and you can kind of embed this into WordPress." And so it verified my link, so I have the proper little check mark on my home site, so you know
okay.
that it is really me. I can't tell you just like how nice it's been and how drama free it is. And so this like sick exercise of watching Twitter go down in flames is salacious. But the
Yeah,
whole act of actually like reaching out to hardcore nerds to talk about geeky stuff, so much better on Mastodon right
and
now.
you're able to reach them because they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I know. The actual fact that they're actually there is
Yeah.
the number one.
Oh,
One of.
it's gotten me in deep because you've got a lot of like OPSEC, you've got a lot of like hardcore Linux users, the
Nice.
whole FOSS community, like free and open source software,
Hmm.
that is hardcore on Mastodon. So I've been kind of poking around on F-Droid and playing with a bunch of like open source apps and what can I install and like it is so much fun.
I
It
have not
really is
installed
nice.
F-Droid for some time, but I really should. I've
It's
for
good
the most part, I
times.
always installed them on what's it called, on Huawei, and well,
Oh
not
yeah,
Honor, but yeah, Huawei devices primarily, where I installed F-Droid, because that was the only way to get the apps that you want and get them updated correctly.
for
Um,
sure.
I need to set up. Okay, I'll say that I did set up a profile on Mastodon, but I have not been on it. I've been somewhat.
Get Tusky. I
Uh-huh.
really like Tusky on Android.
Okay.
Put that on your phone, fire up your account
Well,
credentials,
let's download it
like
now.
just start using it like that. But again, it's like you're starting a social media experience from scratch, and this one is very hands off. So there
Dusky
is
from
no
Mastodon.
algorithm to feed you content. You've got to go and search and follow things. But you can follow a hashtag. So for example, you just want to follow Android news, hashtag Android, and it'll populate, it'll at least start putting stuff in your main feed from
In the
there,
main
and then you
feed.
just
And
kind of poke around on your server and who else is following. It's so great. I
it
really dig
reminds
it.
me of the days where, well, actually, I don't actually, back in the old days of Twitter, but no, like, somebody was commenting on, this one new feature that they introduced into at least, Twitter for Android, where you open Twitter, you get in there, and as it's
Hmm.
updating the feed, and you're scrolling down, and you see an actual tweet that you want to read, but suddenly the feed updates by itself, and it moves
Yeah.
that actual tweet somewhere, God knows where. Yeah,
Hmm.
that is
And
by far my favorite feature of the new
and
Twitter. I
and
can never read
they
anything.
learned it from Instagram, because I
Yeah.
would open up Instagram and I would go so long in between checking in on Instagram that like I'd see something and you're like, oh, that looks kind of, oh wait, it just
Nope.
populated like a week's worth of stuff,
And
and I
that
lost that one picture that I wanted to see. That kind of stuff
90%,
kills me. I
90%.
do almost nothing on Instagram or Twitter now, outside of just auto publishing stuff.
The reason why you are the number one search name for me on Twitter is because it does that to your tweets. And I almost miss them every single time. So I end up having to look up your account and see what you've been doing, because otherwise I'd be out of the loop of what Juan Carlos Bagnell is doing on Twitter.
Well, you know
Because
what?
Elon
Join me on
apparently,
Mastodon, and you know, just because I'm trying not to use social media hardcore. Like every single thought that pops into my head, I'm rushing off to go and tweet it or post it or gram it or
I
whatever.
stop myself.
I, I'm
I write the tweet, I read my tweet, and I'm like, yeah,
I
it's
just,
not worth it.
if I still care by the time I get to finishing this message, then maybe I'll post it. But most of the
That,
time, I get about halfway through and go,
eh,
nah. But for a few of those musings and a few of just like the more life event type stuff, I'm not sharing any of that to Twitter anymore. So I am putting a little bit more into Mastodon. Just when I do have like, hey, that's kind of a quirky
I
thing, or
downloaded
oh, this
Tusk.
is an article I think you should read. I'm
Yeah.
not sending it. It goes to the Discord because I
Hmm.
really like chatting with the people on the Discord. But then the other part of that is I'll send it to the Mastodon too.
Sorry, no, I'm with you, and I need to get on Mastodon. It's me not carving enough time to learn a new platform. I think I'm not gonna lie. It is partially that part,
I
but
mean,
it's
so Oliver has, I've got his comment up here. I tried
yeah, yeah.
Mastodon years ago, but maybe it's time to go back in. I'm actually going to say, if there's not a reason for you to seek that kind of short form burst of content social media experience, then just leave Twitter and don't go looking for anything else. I think it's actually better for your brain if you don't. It's
Hmm.
just a major part of my job that I like to get mixed up into the commentary of the things that we do, like on our channels and in social media and talking about tech and stuff. But then
Yeah,
also, like, that is sort of my lifeblood for keeping up with news for things like podcasts and stuff. So that's one
absolutely.
of the reasons why I've shifted over harder into a service like Mastodon, because Twitter has lost all credibility as a platform for the safe and fair discussion of news topics.
I'm with you.
Especially over this last week, it's gotten real bad. If
It
you're not mainlining news like that, don't. I mean, if you want to hang out, we can hang out. I love having conversations on
always,
short form social media. I'm
yeah.
not telling you not to seek me out, but I am saying if you're not engaging with people specifically for that and you're not using it as a constant drip feed of news
Hmm.
alerts, it's replaced like an RSS reader for me.
Okay,
Then don't. I think you'll be fine. I think you'll
okay.
probably be happier for not. But if you're like us and you make shows and podcasts and things, then we need
I've been,
something to replace
yeah.
Twitter.
And I think for us, I think a conversation, a place where you're able to have conversations and not necessarily get sucked into a whole bunch of different things going on. I think it's a better, just mental health, if nothing else, but also just the
Yeah,
ability of kind of just making social media social again, as opposed to
exactly.
antisocial, which is what's been going on. No, I get it. I get it. I'm with you. It's not for me. It's been more, uh, man. Honestly, ever since I've been back to the office, it's been a really weird, messed up process for me.
Yeah.
During the day, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the office kind of takes it out of me. And my production schedule has been messed up. Like I was supposed to put this video out for the Magic 5 Pro earlier this week because I knew the launch event that was coming up in Hong Kong and in the UK was coming up this week, but I just didn't have enough time. I could not put it together, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to just basically throw things in, like, just put whatever. So um yeah, so shooting for that hopefully for tomorrow. But I also have, obviously, let's start talking about some of the things we have as well, because
Yeah.
you've been
I
enjoying
feel like,
something that I'm still trying to fiddle through a little bit.
oh,
What? Well, okay, so
we,
I'm talking about a couple of things, but
yeah, I was gonna say, which one did you want to start with,
I don't
kind
know.
sir?
We can do the max, or we can just bring in Maria over here and have her run the podcast. Because I love the fact that you got
she
Maria on the show, man. That was
she
nice.
it's like Marie will do one thing a year
Yeah,
on the channel. So it wasn't even last year, it was like 2 years ago. She did a
yeah,
podcast talking about swapping out a phone.
yeah,
And
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
so
That's right. When you got her off of the LG, was it
the
the
LG
G7?
G7.
Yeah, G7 over to
So
the. Yeah,
she
yeah, I remember
smashed
that
her
one.
G7. She's still on her 4A 5G, and I wiped out my Pixel 5A. And we think we might switch her over to that as her big phone upgrade.
Omar is still running on the 5A
But
5G. He still likes
yeah,
that one. It works. He likes
well,
the fact that it has a headphone jack.
she wants a
That was
headphone jack,
surprising.
and
Yeah,
and I she does not like the idea of spending a lot of money on her phone because her use is very communication heavy.
yeah. Okay.
So she doesn't need more processing power than an LG G6. Like, she doesn't. She's
No, I got it.
good. She's covered.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't go with the Pixel 5a, I'm seriously considering getting her a Sony this year.
Oh
Like,
yeah, like
if we see an update to
I was gonna
the
say a
Xperia
Sony
5,
compact, like the Xperia, yeah, the compact. The Xperia 5 is
because
the compact. Yeah.
I want to, like, that might be what we
The
need to
5
do.
Mark IV is seriously a really good
Yeah.
compact edition, and it kept a lot of the main features from the big guy. I really enjoyed playing with that while I had it
and
back
and she is
last year.
not
Yeah.
one that would have missed, like, the more advanced, like, telephoto
Yeah.
lenses. But I actually think she might kind of dig having a shutter button. Like, I think
Yeah.
she might actually enjoy, like, this is a dedicated shortcut that fires it up. It
Going
has a
back, going old
dedicated
school.
hardware fingerprint sensor, just like her Pixel has.
Hmm.
It's in a different place, but it's not in the screen. It's
Yeah.
it's just another hardware thing. And then she'd actually get the upgrade of having a memory card slot again. So we'll have to see.
And really good speakers.
We
Really,
might
really, yeah.
spend a little bit more on Marie's next phone. We're holding out this year because I kind of want to see if we get any news on an
Still
American
nothing
strategy
actually.
for
That's actually
Sony. It's been so quiet.
we're in. Well, I was going to say we're in April. We're practically mid-April at this point,
Yeah.
and like I'm honestly
I
surprised.
feel
I'm like
I
they
feel
did
we
that
would have
last year too.
started hearing some
Like even
murmuring,
leaks. Like there's not even leaks of what the. Well,
or
actually, I take that
or
back.
even like
I think I saw
outreach
some
on,
leak.
like, hey, you're gonna join us for a briefing or something. So
Hmm.
Sony's playing this super close to the vest, and it's making me anxious. Like, are we going to get a delayed strategy for North America? Will this be the year they just don't bring a phone to North America? I'm super anxious.
Juan,
But
what I'm saying right now, please take this with all the love that I have for you
I
as a
just
brother.
jinx us.
You just don't put that out in in
I
the
know, I
universe,
just
man.
jinxed us, didn't
You're just
I?
messing.
I have
Like,
been
think it, don't say it.
so
Remember.
anxious this year because I'm writing an article, and it's just going to be a written article. I don't feel any burning desire to turn it into a video.
By the way, I'm
Um,
enjoying writing more than actually making content. Sometimes I'm like,
yeah,
it's so much
I'm
more.
like 6 scripts in, and
Uh-huh.
about 4 of them I might just turn into written pieces,
Absolutely.
as opposed to, like, because, like, there are some things that, like, need to be a video.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
And
No.
I got a comment, and it was hard for me not to reply snarky, but I posted a photo.
Yeah.
People, I cannot express to you how silly exciting it is to see Lumafusion for Android get updated to properly support external monitors.
Nice.
This is a really big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we've got a couple different options. If you can edit a video just all on your phone, and that's totally fine. If you have a phone like the Moto Edge Plus, you can
Yeah.
use Ready 4, and you can edit on a monitor.
Yeah.
So it's not screen sharing. It is, fully using a 16 by 9 or other aspect
Yeah.
ratio
Yeah.
monitor.
It still has a desktop experience. Yeah.
If your phone has video output, before all you could do was screen mirror, which would be a really awkward letterboxing view. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't get the height of your monitor. But now you can edit on your phone, and your preview window
So your
is,
feed,
because
you get a
even
clean
though our
feed on the.
phones are like 20 by 9, almost all of the content we shoot is 16 by 9.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it looks weird to like mix these different aspect ratios, but if you have a 16 by 9 monitor, you can send it out there. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm rambling.
No.
This is critical because so many more apps could do this. Think about
Yeah.
every game could have an alternate monitor output mode.
Yeah.
Like maybe you just use your phone as a controller, you don't have to look at the phone, and then you could send that to another TV, but then have it properly formatted for 16 by 9. That could be huge.
That could be
I really
massive.
would
Yeah.
like to see this, because even if we don't get desktop modes, this could alleviate some of the teething pains or content. Like just send it to Netflix and say, hey, if I plug Netflix into this TV with HDCP with the proper copy protection, can you just fill the TV? Because it's dumb to have letterboxed 16 by 9.
Because no, exactly. All it's doing essentially, it's because it's mirroring and it's keeping the aspect, but
So
it is a
I,
much better experience. Yeah.
I shared a photo and I just posted like, hey, this is a huge update. And I posted it on a YouTube post also. So,
Yeah.
okay, fair. YouTube as a social media outlet is built on video. But that's not a video. Like, I posted a picture of Lumafusion running on my phone and
Hmm.
sending the video to another monitor. And I said, hey, this is really exciting. Go update your Lumafusion app. Like, that's it. That would have been the whole video. And one of the first comments I got is like, this really needs to be a video. And you're like, why does that need to be a video? I
I think
told you.
it's more about explaining to people on how to use. I don't know, like you could make it into a short, maybe, I guess, if you really wanted to kind of like just to
I
get LumaFusion. Like, well, I'll
I
say
just
this.
feel
Remember, like a couple of years ago, I had to do a short just to show people that the Xperia One Mark III or 4 supported, audio input,
yeah.
over the 3.5 mil headphone jack.
We had a
Some
couple big reviewers who couldn't remember how to plug in a
Yeah,
headphone cable.
it was definitely
It was a
you know
funny little quirk of writing
yeah,
off 3.5 millimeter jacks and forgetting what,
you could do with
TRS and
that. All
TRRS
right. Yeah.
could do.
No,
So I
I'm
was
with
glad that you did that.
yeah.
But to me, that is a demonstration that rebuts bad information put out by much larger channels.
Yeah.
I'm not my sharing of the update for LumaFusion is not a rebuttal. I don't have to
That's true.
correct any
It,
misinformation.
it's like saying,
I
hey, there's a new feature on,
right?
XY device with this
Hey,
update. Yeah.
look, there's like a new it's a press release at best. And I
It,
feel like I did my due diligence in putting it out there. But I just think it's funny, it's like we get kind of programmed into this idea of like every morsel of conversation here needs to be some kind of produced bit. And you're
yeah.
like, you know what? I can write 3,000 words on something and still feel like it shouldn't be a video. Like that should be a written piece that people can browse through as much as they want at their
Yeah.
leisure, or read the whole thing or come back to it in chunks. I feel like we kind of lose sight of that sometimes, where for practical purposes and then also just for time management purposes, some of these things really should be. I'm writing an article right now on phones that do phone things,
Hmm.
right? I don't want to make a video that's gonna that people are gonna feel like I'm trashing their favorite phone, but I need to illustrate some concepts, and I feel like that just needs to be tucked away in its own little corner as a written piece. If I do this fully produced video and I'm being kind of snarky or playful or something like that, then it's just me being a D-bag. And like, no, this actually just needs to be sort of more of a static resource, not an entertaining watch Juan dance like a monkey kind of a thing. So
Watch Juan try out his new shorts and talk about it on on camera. I got that bit
well,
at the end. I was like,
I
what?
love, but maybe I do need to just shift my channel over into like
Uh,
outdoor tech,
um,
disaster prep, and fashion and apparel.
Mm-hmm.
You
No, I'm with
know,
you.
I've been really digging batteries. I need to get back up to speed on solar panels. I had a video planned on that kind of fell through. But the biggie for me this week was spending some time with a sexy little e-bike.
Oh
It
my
is
God.
such a good looking bike.
So I'm still finishing my side of the video.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Because you
and
got the
just
fancier bike. We
so
got the
and was but it was
streamlined
totally
bike.
out of total coincidence. We did not plan this as you may think it would have happened. Juan purposely went with the one ST model, and I went with the one model. So they're both Thunder bikes by Velotric. Velotric? I'm saying that right.
Velotric.
Velotric. Yeah, like hello and trek, like electric. Okay. Um so yes, I both Juan and I've been enjoying different versions of the bike. It's a new bike from Velotric, the Thunder. There's two models, the Thunder
The
One,
Thunder
and then
One.
and oh, there we are. Oh, look at you! Look at you with your fancy little
I was trying
animations
to
and
put
all that.
together. I'm gonna try and share this on some sort of like Instagram style
That
uh,
is nice. Yeah.
thing.
So that's
But
the
I just
Thunder One
wanted to.
ST. The design for the most part, both are similar except for for
Mhm.
the
The
size of the
frame's a
bike.
little different, yeah, but they're
Yeah,
pretty
they're I mean,
close.
if you saw them next to each other, you could definitely see that they're related. That's what I meant to say. The one I have is the one, and the one has the one ST. Both are considered to be class one bikes. They're pedal assist bikes.
Hmm.
They're not. There's no acceleration. The motor does not work on its own. You need to actually actively ride the bike for the bike. Yeah, exactly. This is how light it is. You can see Juan basically, you know, definitely going for the gains
It's
right there.
it's like 35 pounds, not just the frame, but like the frame, the battery, and the tires
Ev-
all together. It's a
Everything.
35-pound
It
bike.
is
It is
crazy. And
so light.
the Thunder one, although bigger, is not that much heavier. It's seriously, it does not look like an e-bike. It rides like it's basically a city a street bike. It's not a fat tire.
Yeah.
It's not an off road. It's really intended to be ridden on the road. It's like a city bike, the way I'd like to describe it. Um, so I'm finishing my video. I have all my B-roll. I have my A-roll stuff like that recorded. I just need to edit it, put it together, and try to kind of button it up, make it pretty, almost as close as pretty as to your video that you put out. Although I can
My
say that,
video wasn't that pretty. I had so many problems with that video.
hey man,
TK, what you
you
saw.
had better weather than I. Like every time I wanted to shoot
Fair.
something on the bike, it
It
was
got
either
weird, right?
rainy and yeah, like the
Yeah.
last couple of days.
I caught the one day where it wasn't gray. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, what you actually see in that video is actually my third full run through of the script.
Oh,
I had to
okay? Yeah.
shoot that video over 3 times because of weird production issues or cameras that would start to overheat. Because, you know, like you'd start, I purposely
We
tried to
get
shoot it in the shade, and then I'd get a slice of light
yeah.
hit
I saw. Yeah,
hit
yeah.
a phone, and then it would like cook that phone. And I was like, I'm trying to do this really discreet because like every time I put down a tripod, it's like
A whole bunch of people come out.
LAPD comes
Yeah.
running out to ask me for a permit for
Oh
my
my god.
shoot, for my
I
professional shoot.
I still
So I
remember
have it
that
on
time
just
we got
two.
asked that one time together. We're in Sherman Oaks. Can you guys film? We're just having lunch. We're just filming
Yeah,
ourselves on the table. So
that's
yeah, no, I
not
know.
that's not this is not professional. But
No,
technically, the fact that we had a tripod, they
yeah.
could have kicked us out and asked
But
for
but
a
it wasn't
permit
even like
or
a full
anything with
size
it.
tripod. It was
It was
like
a
a small,
GoPro.
tiny. Yeah, it was a GoPro. It was like on the table. We were
Doesn't
not.
matter. It
Yeah, yeah,
was
I know.
3 legs, and that
On a
fits
phone,
the
and
yeah.
we had that magic back moving removing phone that you bought me. But yeah,
I
no,
can't
no.
even remember. I can't remember what the name of that brand was. It was such a piece of crap. But
Doogie, not Doogie. No, not Doogie is a
no, it
different company.
wasn't.
No, it
No,
was
Doji
some kind of
Doogies or whatever they're called. They're much better built.
no, no, but
But
it was like a fancy name, like some kind of weird fancy. It sounds really fancy, but it's not really fancy. You know what I mean?
and it
Like
was that
the
thing. It's got like the fake holes on the back for multiple
yeah,
camera
yeah,
sensors, and it
exactly. Because
only
it
had
only had like
one
one camera, but
camera.
yeah, exactly. Oh man. But
So that
anyways, so
that
yeah,
video, and I feel like my
which is live by the way.
main
If you haven't had a chance to check it out,
yeah,
Juan's
the
video is already
Velotric
out. Mine will be coming
video
out
went up today.
shortly.
Um, and
I
I
mean,
thank you to the folks at Velotric because they've been sort of sponsoring some of these conversations, and I'm talking to them about some updates to their bikes and then also some accessory videos.
yeah, that would be nice.
But what you're seeing is like that was one on a really bad day trying to shoot this video, failing 2 other times, and even my main A-roll camera, that was the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, and it's soft. I couldn't figure out like what is it doing, because I at least had a B camera. I was using the Vivo X90 Pro for some of like the crouching shots and a different
Yeah,
angle on the bike
I
frame
saw
and
that. Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you had that. You had to jump in every once in a while.
That came out a little sharper. But again, it's like it's so hard to kind of judge that in the field. It looked really good on the phone screen when I was just kind of going back over some of that. So that video was like the most difficult piecing together of footage I think I've done in years. It was like
Well, you shoot
every
it
single
outside.
thing.
You actually you toughed it out. You actually go outside, and uh, I purposely try not to. I do all of my B
Well,
roll outside, but I keep my
you
A
at
roll.
least have like a proper backyard. I
Yeah.
have an angry collection of neighbors who whine to the HOA if you're in a more open public space with a
Oh my god.
camera because oh privacy, and you're like yeah, but I'm pointing this at no one's house off a sidewalk, which is technically over the line of what the HOA should be managing, but you're still going to complain. So I have to be even more like obviously considerate of how I'm shooting and
You
stuff.
have to go across the street, stand at the bottom of the hill, and have the
Well, I
camera
did that.
facing you. Yeah, you
I
have to
did that
face
for
it.
the fat tire. I actually rode it up like one of the dirt path
Oh, yeah.
trails, and I still managed to catch someone. So I'm on top of this hill, and it overlooks part of the condo complex that we're
Mhm.
in. And I mean, like, I'm at least 75 meters, not quite a football field, but I'm a distance away across the street from the HOA. And in one of the clips I have of me talking, I can see this little old lady walking on the sidewalk, like staring at what I'm doing up on the hill
Maybe she's a new subscriber.
as she's walking like the whole way over. And it's the thing that always gets me is like I always think it's hilarious. I try to be very discreet and I try not to put people in videos when they obviously don't appreciate having a camera pointed at them. But when
Absolutely.
I am talking to the camera and I can't see what's going on around me, I have a microphone video that's coming out that I also shot out in public. And it's like, if you don't want to be in someone's video, why do you slow down and crane your neck and stare right down the camera lens
Making yourself even more prominent in the video,
to
where
be in the
before you were just
video
basically a
while you're
passing.
so offended that someone has a camera pointing at you when you can obviously see I am not operating the camera. I am on the other side of the
Not
camera.
only,
I cannot
but yeah,
touch the
yeah, they
camera.
don't
And
know
you're
how aperture works and how focus levels work. When you focus on that, whatever they are at the bottom is it's basically a speck and nobody
in the
sees it.
mic video, you can see there's this one where it's like a woman and her son, and she's really soft, like she's out of focus, but there's a little bit of her side eyeing, just like a moment of it that's still in the video because I couldn't completely get rid of them.
Oh
And
my
he just
god.
it's such a funny quirk. But short story incredibly long. Thunder One, class one e-bike. Thunder One
Yeah.
ST is the more streamlined version of that e-bike, and Marie has been taking it out. She hasn't really been on a bike seriously since like high school.
Yeah.
And now Lex has a proper big girl mountain bike. She's got a
Oh,
7 speed
yeah, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
with front suspension. She actually makes a couple little appearances in this video too, and the three of us have now done a couple what do I say out to we did the Old Agora path that I took you on,
Okay. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we went a little farther up the neighborhood trails. So round trip about a 6 mile ride somewhere in
That's not
there.
bad. That's decent.
But for Marie just getting back up to speed and using her first e-bike, and Lex only just now learning how to ride in the road,
Hmm.
so that she's alongside traffic. That's we're getting there. Like
That's
it's
good.
pretty exciting that we all now have
An e-bike
some bikes to
or
ride.
some kind
Yeah.
of bike experience. Yeah, 'cause I think
Oh
so.
yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's my experience, at least with the Thunder one. I was riding it by myself basically most of the time, except for about a couple of days ago or so, while we had a little bit of good weather. I no, it was like last Friday. It wasn't even a couple of days ago. I asked Omar. No, no, sorry, think about it. Couldn't have been last Friday. Last week I was in Texas. Like timing is just not working here. Last Sunday when we came back, I actually I insisted on him to try to ride the Thunder one, and And I told him, I said, look, this looks like a bike, but it's not a bike. As you pedal, it gives you power. So our street is a little bit at a slant. So I had him just go all the way to the bottom around the cul-de-sac. And I told him, just
Hmm.
come back up and then turn it on. And then he's like, oh, that look on his face when he realized how
Hmm.
like that acceleration. And I told him, I said,
It's quick.
This is like a Tesla on a bike. You're
Yeah.
getting help, you're getting assistance, but you're not having to pedal as much. So you get the exercise of pedaling and the motion and pushing the pedals and going around, but the bike makes it a much more comfortable and much more
Yeah.
enjoyable ride, especially if you're trying to go for distance. But you're still going to get your heart, your breathing. It's going to go higher, and your heart
If
rate's going
if
to go
if
up.
you if you get used to the motor tiers, it's
Hmm.
pretty easy to get to a place where you're passively pedaling,
Barely,
as
yeah.
long
I
as
know.
the bike detects that the pedal sensor is being tripped. So you can keep it on like gear 1, which is
I
like uphill gear, and then turn the motor up to like level 5,
Yeah,
and
I
your
know.
feet are still technically moving in a circle, but you are putting no effort
Yeah,
into it.
you could
It's not
definitely,
as
yeah,
it's not as specific as a throttle switch. Class 1
yeah.
e-bikes don't have a throttle. A
Mhm.
class 2 e-bike, you've got a little thumb switch where you can completely stop pedaling and hit the thumb switch and the bike will go all on
Yeah,
its own.
exactly.
But you can almost get there
I I
staying
I
low
I will
gear, high motor.
I will say the first time when I first got the Thunder one, I put it together. I assembled everything. Its assembly is actually pretty easy. It's pretty simple. It's pretty
This
straightforward
is
as far.
yeah, this one
It's
is quick.
one of the yeah, and the
I had the bike on its first ride with the brakes adjusted in
mhm.
under a half hour.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I remembered it from other because I have another bike that I'm also working on, but the Thunder one is actually very much a much simpler approach than like some of the other ones. The one that you and I rode when I visited you that
Oh
one
yeah.
time.
The
So
Discover.
the
Yeah.
Discover one. So for me, like I said, it's one of those e-bikes that are easy to take care of, easy to just basically put together. I did need to get used to that whole the tire the oh man what is that called where you inflated the little um I'm assuming yours has the same mechanism for the air the little nozzle where you put in the air.
Yeah.
It's a different style of a thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was there because I didn't have the adapter for it, so none of my pumps
Yeah.
would work for it. Luckily, I have a kit for the car, like an electric pump, and it
Hmm.
had the adapter. So once I got that and I realized how to use it, they had to release the thing at the top, put the adapter, and then put that on. I
Yeah,
was fine.
that was a little futzy, and I still feel like the thing I think a lot of people aren't gonna it, it- putting the bike together and screwing in all the bolts is one thing, but
But yeah,
adjusting disc brakes, like if you buy your bike from a nice shop, they're going to do all of those kinds of adjustments and tensioning and making sure the pads are seated properly and stuff like that. And I think that's always the one that makes me the most anxious is like,
yeah.
you really want to know that your brakes work. You really want to know you can stop.
Before you
So
go into turbo mode, you definitely want to make sure those brakes work.
right before you go to plaid, you just want to make sure that you can also come back.
Exactly.
So that's always the one that I recommend. Like, you know, the rest of the bike is going to build really fast, but you flip it
Mhm.
upside down, you spin that wheel, and if you hear any kind of little like metallic
Squeaking or
scraping or
yeah,
squeaking
scraping.
or something like that, you've got to take your time and make sure that you've got that all seated. But this is
Lucky
the
for me, the first
easiest
time,
bike
yeah,
build
for me, I
I've
put it
done
on,
yet.
it was fine. The only thing I had to adjust and get used to was more setting up the app because there was a slight difference between the two as well. Is the Thunder
This
One
doesn't have an
has
app.
an app where the Thunder One ST doesn't have one.
Nope.
Makes it a little bit easier to kind of get
Yeah.
going almost. Um, and the good thing, at least on my side, is that it has Android and iOS. I was using it mostly on iOS because we
Hmm.
got our bikes ahead of launch, and the Android app wasn't available at the time. So in my
Yeah.
video, when you guys watch that one, you'll see a lot more iPhone, the 13 Pro Max, showing up in there. Although the screen grab of the app will be showing off of my Android because I was finally able to switch it over to. I put it on my Pixel 7 Pro, something to keep it running,
Perfect.
and It's a pleasure. So long story short, check out the Thunder One ST and the Thunder One. Hopefully, my video. Hopefully, maybe later this week. It could be early next week, depending on how. I still need to send it back over to Velotric's team and make sure that they're happy. It's kosher. I didn't say anything wrong or misquote a technical spec. But I think for the most part, it's enjoyable. And if you're looking for this type of class one bike, I think this really fits the bill. And they're running a special promotion that's going on for the next few days. So if you guys are thinking about that, check out Juan's video. He has a link there directly to their site, and you can check out both the Thunder One and the Thunder One ST. The Thunder One does come in two different sizes, where I think the ST only comes in one, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
right?
it's so.
It also
No,
has two.
the ST also has two sizes.
Oh, okay.
The Thunder One, I think, is both sizes are a little bit larger.
Yeah.
The ST, both.
But it also has a
little
longer
bit
range. Yeah,
smaller.
the Thunder One actually had a max of 70 mile
Oh yeah.
range, where I
But
think yours was.
the funniest part of all of this, for all of the other features and the cool things, and there are a whole bunch of things that we're not even talking about, like performance and speed
Oh yeah.
and security features. There are some really cool new security features, but you're just gonna have to catch our videos to
That's
learn
I
about
was
what
trying to
those
leave a
things
little bit.
are.
Yeah, I was trying to leave a little
Um,
bit in there. Yeah.
the biggie for us was I was looking at the extra range, and just the Thunder One was a little bit heavier.
Hmm.
And the fat tire bike that I ride, the frame and battery, all told, the bike is closer to around 80 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a big,
Yeah, it's a big guy.
hefty,
Yeah,
just monster
but it
bike.
drives heavy too. It's not just, yeah, it's
Oh
heavy, but yeah,
yeah,
you know
you
when you're
feel it.
riding. Yeah,
You big time. And like when you
you
take a
need
turn, you really got a plan. Like, how am I going
exactly.
to lean this thing? It's not a motorcycle, but it's as close as a bicycle can feel to a motorcycle. And
Yeah,
so I really wanted Marie, even though it's an e-bike and she can be a little intimidated by operating a motor and stuff, I really wanted her to feel like this was as bike-like as possible, down
hmm
to the ounces of weight of difference between the two. And so a full class one e-bike with a battery that's built into the frame, you can't hot swap it like you
that's true.
can
Yeah, you
our
can't change the
bikes,
battery.
but it's got a reasonable range. It's less than half the curb weight of my fat tire. Like, she cannot walk my fat tire around obstacles. Like, it is too heavy, it's too cumbersome. She can pick up this bike or jump it off a curb. Like, it is just like a bicycle
It
for her,
seriously, yeah,
which is
and
huge.
I think it's a big point of what they're trying to do. They wanted to make it so much less of an e-bike feeling than it is just a regular bike experience,
Yeah.
with the ability to use pedal assist when needed. Fingerprint sensor,
For
solution, a whole
sure.
bunch of different things in there. But
Don't spoil the
sorry, no. Well,
security. I
yes,
left that so that you could your video you need to
it,
watch.
I know, I know. If you made it this long with us, thank you very much for hanging out on this show. But yeah, we're both starting to kind of experience a little bit more outdoorsy, and I'm actually enjoying this type of tech more as
Yeah.
well. Gets me out of the office, gets it more, fresh air, just enjoying the neighborhood, and
I
still
don't
need to
want to
get
be
you.
cranky, but
Yeah.
for as excited as I am about numerous phone launches and some tablet
Oh
news that we've
yes.
got, there's just so much cool stuff that's coming
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
our traditional channels. I have to say I've been a little defeatist about things like a major mission, and I feel like we're simpatico on this, but a major mission is trying to bring other people into the fold.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm an evangelist, but I feel tech is more exciting when you can bring other people in and you can have a broader conversation and we can grow our tech
Hmm.
enthusiast ranks.
Yeah.
For the last year, it feels like our community is shrinking, and it's shrinking on these lines that sort of correlate more with whatever's just sort of most conveniently popular.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to be that rah rah, no, let's fight it, let's do this, let's do that, I'm really excited about this phone launch. I'm really excited about that phone launch. I also think generationally,
Hmm.
it's kind of done. The conversation is getting ratcheted in a direction where anyone under the age of like 30, like, Android just doesn't exist. It is such a novelty that I'm starting to see a few pixels at my daughter's school, all from older owners and older parents. Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't exist. And I feel like we've let the game, that conversation, the competition stagnate to such a degree that it's kind of over. we've got a lot of momentum, and we're going to see a lot of like really cool stuff come out, and I'm going to celebrate it. I'm here for it.
Oh,
But I'm
absolutely.
also
Yeah.
looking at like, what else am I really passionate about, and what else am I having a lot of fun covering, and what else can we kind of do to mix up just this? Here is a phone, and it has megapixels and giggle flips, and this is a Geekbench score, and you're like, I just don't care about that anymore, and I don't think anyone who's watching these videos really cares about that anymore. So when a phone comes in and does something really exciting, I just want to talk about that, and then let's see if we can also add some other things into this that can kind of flesh out a whole lifestyle
Yeah.
of gadgets and electronics rather than just here is phone comparison after phone comparison after phone comparison. Because that's also getting really tired too. It's like the YouTube algorithm is just purposely being divisive.
Yeah.
If you put two phones in competition with each other, your video will do a little bit better because it's trying to prime an audience to be upset. That's the thing that kills me. Is like I don't want my video to be used as a platform for a social media site just to make someone upset. And so like I did out of all my OnePlus videos, the OnePlus
Hmm.
11 versus the Pixel 7 Pro is the one that's doing the best traffic wise. I guarantee you it's because that is a divisive topic that gets people upset on both sides of the conversation if you call one of them the winner, or if you don't really have good reasons for why you might like one over the other.
Yeah.
It's all just rage bait. And that's not what my video is. Like my video is trying to highlight differences or the similarities between the two. And that's kind of gross when you think about how social media is playing you against your own hobby just to keep you upset so that you'll stay on the site longer and interact with content that makes you upset.
Well, it's just so,
It's
and
just
also to
super
find other
gross.
content that can support your preset bias in there, and then just kind of to fix that problem that you had from the comparison video. No, I get it. I'm with you. It is an algorithmic based system. It's, I mean, Facebook has tested it out, and they know exactly
Yeah.
how to. It's been
Facebook
proven
didn't. That was very kind of you. Facebook didn't test it out. Facebook experimented
with the
on their
user on their own
user
users.
base. It's just super gross. So anyway, that
Yeah.
that was way more into that than we needed to get. But
Well, no, no.
speaking of,
Phones. I did.
yeah,
Since you said phones, I actually kind of want to talk about a couple of things that are coming up this week. So earlier today, I posted an article on this. Obviously, it was just an announcement on my side. I don't have the phone itself, but ASUS released the ROG, or Republic of Gamers ASUS ROG Phone 7 series, or 7 and 7 Ultimate. There is no Pro this year, so just basically two versions, which makes
no,
sense.
no,
I
no
honestly,
pro gamers. If you
absolutely.
make money on gaming, if you're a professional gamer, there's no phone for you.
No, yeah,
It's
you
really
got to be
sad.
an ultimate gamer, but that's again
Yeah,
different
that's.
league, not the same
I
level.
feel like you should only be allowed to sell one of those because they would be the ultimate gamer,
Well,
and
at
everyone
their
else would just
core,
have to buy a regular ROG.
I think at their core they share a lot of experiences. But essentially, like an 8 Gen 2, as you can imagine, gaming phone. There'll be a second generation of this, obviously later in the year when they
So
release
what
the Plus.
what are your feelings? It's been a while since I've like spent a long time. Like every ROG I've kind of poked at and played with.
Yeah,
I feel if we're having this conversation, and let's get divisive because man, that Google loves it when we're divisive and comparing
absolutely.
phones and stuff. So let's really hurt some feelings here. Um, I like what Asus is doing,
Yeah.
but if I'm buying a phone specifically with the
Mhm.
intent to play games, I'm personally more interested in that built-in cooling fan on the Red Magic.
Yeah.
So what have your experiences been? Because like we've both played with Red Magic and ROG and
Oh,
Black
absolutely.
Shark and Pocos and all
Oh,
that.
oh,
What
my
what are
son's
you
gaming phone is still a
feeling?
Red Magic. Yeah.
Yeah. So so
Uh,
so where would you lean? I mean, like, do you go at ROG and appreciate some of those like nicer hardware elements that Asus can play with, or are you looking at the more streamlined, but like let's cook the internals of this phone and get that fan spinning?
so it's a combination of a few things. There's the software and the hardware portion of it. I appreciate what ASUS does on hardware side because they do leverage a little bit more experience over the years of producing this type of device. I like the secondary HDMI port. I like the fact that we have an actual quad DAX headphone jack that's supported with quality audio. Stereo speakers that are definitely very strong if you want to enjoy content from it. And the cooling mechanism, when it comes down to cooling, I still feel like So ASUS admits to this in it, not directly, but like inadvertently, they do basically make a cooler that they release with every generation of a ROG phone that comes out. The last one that I had that I got a chance to keep was the ROG Phone 5. I tested out the ROG Phone 6 later in the year. But the biggest thing about it is Red Magic has been the only manufacturer to put in an active cooling fan built into the system to try to cool the SoC and the memory and the GPU as you're playing games. And you have to appreciate what Red Magic is doing. So from a hardware standpoint, there's a plus on both sides. ASUS addresses it with an external cooler where Red Magic no longer makes the external cooler, but also they have an option for it, but they do have a built-in one. And I feel like ASUS, it does manage a little bit the experience a little bit more than where Red Magic just lets you basically go play and do whatever you want with the phone. It will cook, it will make your breakfast, it will do whatever you want. So I'm a little bit in between because I look for my phone to be a little bit more than just gaming by itself. I want to be able to turn off the game and then start listening to some really good music, and I want to be able to enjoy that on some nice hands. That for me, I feel like where ASUS kind of takes the lead. It obviously they demand the price for it. When it comes down to
Yeah.
software, this is where I feel like Red Magic falls for me a little bit because their
Okay.
software support is just almost non-existent.
Non-existent.
And
Yeah.
if I do get an update on the Red Magic 6 Pro or the Red Magic 7 last year, it's like if the first month you get it, you'll get one update and then it's once every 6 months or something. So this is where I felt like
maybe not even that.
no, maybe not even there. And then what I'll say with the ROG Phone 2, which was the one that we had for the longest time, we got 2 Android updates on that one with when Omar before the phone. Yeah. So to me, it's like you have to appreciate what that extra little bit of cost comes with. Is that support, the few extra premium things. But to be fair, for where my son uses his phone, he doesn't care for the headphone jack. I mean, he does use it, but he doesn't care that it has to be a good headphone jack.
TK, I feel you have failed as a father.
I know. So I will say
No,
the benefit of the headphone jack became very.
can't.
Let me finish this example. On our trip back from Texas, our what's it called? Both flights that we were on, because we were doing a connecting flight through Houston, both flights didn't have internet. So Omar had no phone, had no. There was no way for him to basically watch shows or do anything like that without having to be on his phone. And he forgot his Bluetooth headset at home. And then the first thing he came up to me, he's like, "Hey, I forgot my headset. Do you have something like that?" No. Just ask the attendant for headphones. They'll give you free buds. I don't have an extra pair because I don't bring wired. So he actually was able to listen to his music, watch his show. He was able to turn on the United app and connect it there. All of that using the headphone jack. And he appreciated having that. And I told him, I said, in the past, I said, do you want to go to the Pixel 6a? It's a newer phone. It has a better processor, but you're losing the fingerprint sensor and you're losing the headphone jack. And he's like, I kind of like those. He likes the ability of tapping his finger on the back of the phone and the phone unlocks. That's such a satisfying effect that you don't get right now because you have to make sure to tap the finger in the right spot.
Yep.
So story is, I feel like what he likes out of his phone for gaming 90% of the time, I think the Red Magic does it perfectly. I don't think he needs an ROG. Who would need an ROG is somebody that's looking to a little bit more, like they want to take it to the next level, better hardware, but again, similar experiences. It's a 1080p, 165 hertz refresh rate display, 6,000 milliampere battery, Gen 2, better cooling mechanism as usual every single year, with triggers, which we also have on the Red Magic, and air cooling using an external fan, not internal. So
I have this kind of like, because I feel like for you and me, we both appreciate phones that do computer things.
Yeah.
And we're both heavily focused on phones that are good for content creators. Like the phones that I'm going to celebrate the most over the course of a year are phones that really do interesting things with camera tech.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lately, I've been really, this is like literally like 90% what I look for.
Man,
that's why I'm excited for next week's announcement. Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty flush this year, and Xiaomi might just rock our socks again next week.
This is the 989 year. That I'll say it now. I'm going to call it now. This is the 989 year.
This is the
we need to just appreciate.
falls a second year behind the rest of the world for.
Oh, absolutely. China's been enjoying it for a year. We finally, we're getting a whiff of the second.
I feel like if we can make those those categories, if we can divide audiences and say there are some people who appreciate streamlined communications, some people who want really good productivity and work features, some people who want really great content creation features.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with the ROG relying so heavily on an external cooler that the person, because we know gamers and we know like this fixation that we get with people who look for like flagship killer phones. I
Yeah.
want the best possible performance with the fastest possible chip in the lowest possible price. That's kind of what
Yeah.
gamer gear has started to represent to a lot of people, not to everybody. There are some people who want to spend $30,000 building an incredible like VR gaming rig, and that's a different kind of conversation. But for phones, I have a hard time. I like the ROG isn't going to have great cameras. They're going to have good cameras.
Yeah.
The Red Magic has okay cameras.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like the differentiator is making an exotic cooling solution happen internal to the phone without having to carry another puck. This is one
Yeah.
of the things that we keep talking about. Is like, oh, well, if I have to carry something extra to turn my phone into a gaming thing, why don't I just also own a Nintendo Switch and just let them eat cake? You know, like you can always find someone who will weasel, but you lose some of that when you have a piece of gaming hardware that is built to game in a way like no other competitor does.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a lot of merit here because we're talking about a niche device. So why are we going halfway? Why are we making a phone that's mostly a phone and can add a cooler, but it's really a gamer phone, but it's kind of not? You know, I've gotten a lot of people criticizing the Razer Edge. I think the idea of a gaming tablet has a lot of merit if you're talking about a high performance, consistency of performance, and you've got active cooling on it. It is
Yeah.
something Apple will never do to an iPad is add active cooling.
No.
iPads
No.
play games, but they're not gaming tablets.
No.
And so the ROG to me just keeps hitting this mental block that I've got where if I have to add something to it, is it really a gaming phone?
But
Because a lot of what makes the I'm sorry, I'm almost done. A lot of what
yeah.
makes the ROG cool, we can replicate on a Sony or
Yeah. Yeah.
on a Motorola. Actually, like the Motorola tools and controls for gaming and game streaming are way better than you would expect a productivity focused label like Motorola to
Yeah.
carry. I mean, they've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
built-in one button streaming to Twitch. I mean, like you're going to do that. You can add a controller and a cooler, and to me that's pretty close to the experience that Asus is
Absolutely.
also trying to deliver.
I think the certain portions of that I feel like ASUS jumps into, and just for reference, also just my experience with it with the ROG lines of devices is purely up to the ROG Phone 6 Diablo Edition that I got a chance to use I think late last year. But I haven't had a chance to see the 7 yet. So the 7 for me, it's primarily just based on what we've seen and years of using ROG devices from them. For me, I think you hit the nail on there on the head right away when you said when we look at devices, we look at devices that are able to do a little bit more computer-like experiences or devices that do just more than a regular phone. ASUS's approach to the ROG's line of devices, yes, is a little bit modular because they're trying to make it into more of an ecosystem. But they've also, if you remember, I think we've seen it before at IFA or even some of the other events. They have docks for the ROG phone where you're able to dock it and it connects to a TV. You're able to play games. You know, the controllers become wireless. You have that wireless experience going on. I think the placement of the second USB-C port is a crucial game-changing experience when you're thinking of it in a gaming center because you're using the phone, you're playing with the phone all the time, but 90% of the time you're blocking the port when you want to
Yeah.
charge. So that having that secondary USB-C at the bottom, which is also your video out, by the way, your video out is only on the bottom USB-C, not the right one, because that's only for charge. So that's where the aesthetics kind of become a little bit more functional. One of the comments we're talking about is actually the one you have highlighted right there is
Yeah.
they do need a desktop experience. You're right. They need something
Mhm.
like a Ready For to leverage bigger screens as opposed to just mirroring your display. I actually, if you remember, they used to have even the clamshell gaming controller
Yep.
the case. It's a case with a secondary
Yeah.
display, kind of like the LG Wing and the V60 did. but more of a clamshell for the ROG Phone 5. I want to say the 5 or the 3. But long story
But along
extremely
that
short,
same way, I mean, the
yeah.
Red Magic 8 does actually introduce a rudimentary console style mode, which isn't terrifically dissimilar from Moto Ready 4.
Okay.
Again, it's like we keep, if you're gonna say it's a gaming phone, I really need it to have something else other than an edgy design. So the
I
headphone jack
agree.
helps because that
Yeah.
is that if you want the best possible lowest latency audio performance with the best consistency, you need a cable. The dual USB ports, that does help. So there are some fine differences that can point this to a more enthusiast class of consumer. But to me, the person who's saying, I'm going to buy a phone, and one of the main things I'm looking for is the best ability to play games on that phone.
Yeah.
And we're acknowledging like this is not a large representation of the overall
Mm-mm.
smartphone market. This is a
We're going
tiny
very
sliver. Someone
absolutely.
who is making the choice to own this as opposed to owning a phone and some type of like Steam Deck or Nintendo Switch. They are going to do their gaming on that one device and they want the one device that's going to do that the best. I have to start with the performance and I have to look at, man, what you can do with active cooling in a phone
Yeah.
is
No, I'm with you.
pretty ridiculous.
No, absolutely. And the fact that on a Red Magic you're able to play Dead Cells, no, sorry, Undead Horde at 120 frames per second. That just won
Oh
me
yeah.
right there. I couldn't hold the phone for too long playing the game, but I could play it at 120. You know what I
You
mean?
put it in a controller cradle and you're great.
I yeah, actually, or you could just basically go into your freezer. Actually, the weather we've been having, not that for quite some time, was very conducive of better cooling temperatures to play
Right?
hotter phones. But um,
So I
I,
had to
I
look it up. I this is the man, this is not great. So I have my Red Magic 7 Pro.
yeah.
I haven't spent any time with the Red Magic 8. I keep looking at it and I've almost purchased it like 3 or 4 times now. And then something else pops up that I need to work on that I know I won't be able
I
to spend
think you
time
and I
with
need
it.
to, yeah, we need to kind of save our money for something a little bit
Some
more
big purchases are going to be coming up pretty soon.
with adaptive. Yeah,
So
sorry,
Red Magic 7 Pro,
variable aperture.
it
Yeah,
got an update the first week that it went live. So I had this. I didn't have it embargo. I think I got it like the day it was publicly available, like at launch. Uh, it is showing no updates now. So again, first week update. That's all it's gotten that I can remember, and it's currently on the March 1st Android security update. Oh wait, excuse me. It's currently on the March 1st, 2022 security
I was about to
update,
say March
which
1st is
is
not
not
that bad,
great.
Juan. I mean, I don't know if you. I mean,
That's
come on, you want April
that's
1st, the moment April start. Yeah, you're like, nah,
pretty
TK.
not good.
No, but that's the style of, and I'm not trying to say make it sound like ASUS is updating it every month. Obviously, they're doing every 3 months, every 4 months. It's
But they are
periodic,
getting updates. Yeah.
but the fact that I got on the ROG Phone 2, on the ROG Phone 5, I bet you right now that if I turn on the ROG Phone 5 right now, I'll have at least a couple of updates that I need to push. That's the thing that I feel like
That is a
differentiates a little bit.
differentiator for
But
sure.
I will say the last thing for me, that the one that gets me, the one that makes me, if I had to make a decision why I would go for the ROG over the Red Magic, is, you remember the Steam Deck dock? I think I got you one for you for Christmas, I think last
Yeah.
year. I got one for myself as well, because as you can imagine, I mean, I got one for you, and I'm like, then I'm jealous. Got one for you. Why didn't I get one for myself? So I got one myself too. I can actually take the Steam Deck out, put the ROG phone in that same dock because of the secondary USB-C connection,
Mm-hmm.
br- push it up to the TV, and play with my Xbox controller in less than, not even, I can boom, boom, and start playing. And to me, that experience is so
That's pretty
versatile.
good. Yeah.
And I'm not talking first party accessories. I'm using just a generic off of Amazon, Steam Deck. It was actually designed for the Steam Deck with an extending USB, but it had Ethernet in the back, it had HDMI, and it of course has USB-A ports to be able to plug in your controllers. So that to me sells me on this experience a little bit more. But I appreciate what Red Magic does from a price point,
Hmm.
from a sheer horsepower, and the sheer cosmetic appearance of what the phone. It still looks cool, still has a nice functionality. And I think last year with the 7, not the 7 Pro, they had that really nice translucent looking back with all the RGB and
Yeah,
colors
those are
and the
pretty cool.
fan. That was a really cool one. I really, like, I sometimes really miss. I feel like bad for selling that phone because I turned that phone so quickly. I couldn't tie up my
Yeah.
money for on to one, but
But I also
I
feel like last year was just sort of tough for all of us having those high performance conversations. That the
absolutely.
because wasn't there a Red Magic 7T? Was it a T or an S or some kind of variant
S.
that had the 8
Yeah,
plus
so Red
Gen
Magic
1?
does the S series.
So I have the 8 Gen 1. And let me
Yeah,
tell you, boy, howdy does that thing get toasty. And I guarantee you that you get a noticeable improvement to performance per watt. It'll still probably run hot,
yeah.
but you will get a better performance for how hot it's running on
Mm-hmm.
that 8 plus Gen 1. And again, here now on the 8 Gen 2. I'm trying to
Agent
look
Two's
up.
been really. I mean,
Oh, it's just been so
I'll
good.
say overall from every phone that every manufacturer that we've had an opportunity to check out for an Agent Two type of device, the performance has been so much better. I mean, comparing it just 8 Gen 1 to 8 Gen 2, it's like night and day. So for me alone for that feature, I feel like somebody that maybe has been pushing their system too much a lot, and they realize that all that temperature issues on the 8 Gen 1, the 8 Gen 2 can definitely be a benefit there. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough story to kind of explain, but TSMC fixed the issue first
Yeah.
generation with the 8 plus Gen 1, and now we see it with the 8 plus with the 8 Gen 2. Um, I think it's a no-brainer. We can definitely see the benefit, but I still
Do you
I'm
know
with
how
you.
much the ROG 7 is supposed to sell for? Because I can't
Ta-
find.
Starts at 1,000. 12 so I think if I'm not mistaken, so it's not sold in the US yet. If you see it on the I think I had it in
Oh,
the
okay. So here,
so
Forbes has it 999 euro to
that
start.
so that's the 7 at 12,256. Then you
Yes.
have the 7 at 12,512, and then there's the 7 Ultimate at 16,512. So the
That's
Ultimate is
1,400.
yeah, and that's the 1450 or 14, and then that one
What
includes
is
the
Red
external cooler.
Magic?
Red Magic starts at around 650 to 700 if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken.
was
They've
gonna
always
say I thought
stated
it was
that
like $200 less.
more for sure.
Okay,
Like
so then
it,
let me pull up the Red
maybe the
Magic
Pro
pricing.
is more. I know that the standard model usually about 650. So it's right there. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even think there is a Red Magic 8 in North America.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was more referencing last year's 7 and 7 Pro
Yeah. So
because
I
that's
also
what we,
just want to pull that up. But let's see, Red Magic 8 Pro buy now. And let's say 16,512 is $800. Wow. Okay, so it's I mean again, if we were just loosely translating euro to dollars, which obviously those prices don't work out, but
it's
the
about a
starting price
thousand.
the
Yeah,
starting
starting
price
around.
for an ROG is 999.
Yeah,
The starting price for the top end version of the Red Magic is 799. So the $200 what you don't pay for is software updates.
well, no,
Software
but
updates
plus,
will
no, no,
cost you cost
yeah,
$200.
apples to apples. It's a much bigger. I mean, you're talking about obviously. I think this is the Pro comes with like 16 gigs of RAM and
No. So that's what I'm saying is like the entry level ROG is
it's $200 more
$200
expensive
more than the
than the top
maxed
end.
out
Yeah,
Red Magic 8 Pro.
but yeah.
So,
So what I think it's
whew,
both of these devices offer us a good experience. But it does come down to basically preference of what features do you want. It's kind of like saying, I want to get a 3080 or I want to get a 3090, or if, or should I upgrade to the 40 series? It depends on what you're going to do and what you need it for. If you need the modularity and the ecosystem that is outside of the system itself, meaning the core computing is the phone and all the other things are accessories to it, I feel like ROG has been doing that and they know the ecosystem is built around it. If you like just straight up go in there and play and you want to save some money and still get the best bang for the buck, and Red Magic still has that. And I think that's the thing I appreciate about Red Magic is that they're still sticking to their core experience. They haven't shifted from it. They're still giving you a better experience for less money, and you just proved it there. $200 less than the maxed out
yeah.
8 Pro than the basic 7 that doesn't even have the air cooler with it. So yeah.
Although Man, that does make me a little cranky considering these are not cheap phones, but they
They're
are
no longer, yeah, they're not cheap
exotic.
anymore. Yeah, they're definitely, it's the same conversation it would be if you were recommending something for a
Google
camera
Play
enthusiast.
system, because even my fallback would be like, okay, even if I'm maybe not on the most current Android security patch, we could look at Google Play system updates, and even
Mhm.
that could give you a little bit of a buffer for
That's
the
true.
most common vectors of attack. Google Play system update December 1st, 2021.
It was a good year. I heard it was a good year.
It was a great year.
I've heard many great things about
Yeah.
2021 was the year. No, I guess 2022 would be the year we transitioned out.
It doesn't even give me the ability to check for another update. It's grayed out. It's like, no, this is it. You're updated. That kind of makes my eye twitch a little.
Out of curiosity, that was a phone that they sent you, right?
Yeah, so it could be a little different if maybe I got
I
some kind of
was
funky review unit.
that I
That's fair.
in earlier generations, I would say that that was something I always had, where they would send me a pre-production unit. If they got, but it
Mine
sounded like
looked
yours
like it
came.
was full retail, man.
Oh no,
I
no,
still
the
have the
hardware is
box
always done.
somewhere
It's
and everything, like,
90% of these
but
companies have their hardware done way ahead of when their software is done.
fair.
Case in point, Samsung. They release a phone and they fix it in post. You know what I mean? Like it's just how we do things, right? I don't want to bring in
Right.
Samsung just to mag on them, but seriously, like so many companies now will release a phone and
No,
they
they
use the
definitely
Microsoft
treat
approach of thing.
this like it's a gaming appliance
Yeah.
that happens to make phone calls. But
Phone calls, what are
I
those?
still I mean, like, again, I'm purposely putting this up here, and I still feel like there is a reasonable. Back in the day, I was an LG fan. As
Yeah.
I was making my transition out of being a Samsung Knight into being an LG stan, you would have to make that balance. And I think it's fair if you can highlight, I am spending my money on this kind of hardware, acknowledging I'm probably not going to get that kind of software.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about things like Google Play system updates, and I can't get this hardware to kick over into something more recent, that makes me a little, like, I have a harder time with
The
that. I still feel
vulnerability.
it's totally fair. And Grant is in the chat here too.
Oh, hey,
Um,
Grant. Hey, man,
just
how you
like
doing?
the
I've been
hardware,
following his. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It has
the
definitely.
hardware conversation is extreme when you pick up a Red Magic. I'm telling you, like, this phone is built so well. It
Oh,
is
absolutely.
so smooth. The fan is so good
Uh,
at getting more performance. The air triggers are fantastic. The battery life and fast charging are
Fast
great.
charging actually has been crazy nice. Yes,
So good.
that was one of the biggest
But
reasons I chose that
you
one
are
as well.
absolutely making a targeted conversation on what the software hardware balance might be. As there was a little
Because
trip down memory lane. I mean, like, over there, I put it back on my bookshelf again, but I also had the Razer phone out for a while. And it's just like, man, we had so many great gaming phones that felt substantial. They felt like gaming appliances. They felt like consoles.
for a couple of years, I
It's,
felt like Razer was pushing the edge and making ROG catch
you
up, and then
know,
suddenly,
then just
kaput.
poof.
Yeah, exactly. And but no, no. I mean, so look, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a lawn thing. There is a there's pros and cons to both case situation. This is purely made for a specific type of user. I can make a case for why this makes sense perfectly for me, especially with my son, as well as for myself when I want to be able to play games. Like I personally prefer the Razer Edge over the ROG and the other experience because I feel like the Razer Edge gives me what I want out of a portable solution that is Android based, but also gives me cooling, and it gives me the ability of also popping it out of the controller and watching
For
content
sure.
on something like that we're both playing with right now, which is oops, if I don't want to drop things as
Oh,
usual, this little Max toy that we do that we're both
oh,
playing with right
hold
now.
on. Let me. I just again in our trip down memory lane, I had to take a look. I pulled up Black Shark,
Oh
and
man,
there's been no new news. So Black
rest
Shark
in
5
peace.
Pro
Yeah, rest in peace,
was the
Black
last
Shark.
one they came out with, and all of them are sold out. And I don't think they even did a refresh on the Black Shark 5. I think it is just they stuck with the 8 Gen 1 for that entire gen and then just sort of stopped.
It
So
was tough. I mean, it's a tough case. I mean, you think about it.
my Black
The
Shark 4 is
Dude,
is just a tank. That thing is so good. I like the little pop out triggers.
mhm.
It's got the
Oh, you had the 4 Pro. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. Oh, did it was it the 4 or the 4 Pro that I had? I might have only had the
The
4
pop out,
because I think
the two versions they released, one had the flush triggers, which were more touch sensitive, and the one that
right.
popped up, I think it was the Pro. I could don't quote me, but yeah.
No, no, no. So the reason why I think that's off
Hmm.
is I was actually happier to have the phone with the Snapdragon 870. And I
Oh,
think the 4 Pro had the
it's
888.
880. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, no, no problem.
So for me it was like it's technically the less performant, but when you get into longer stretches of gameplay, it's actually more consistent. So I rocked that Black Shark 4 so hard. And then I started playing with some red magics and I'm like, ooh, cooling fan. Kind of switched over.
Who would have thunk passive cooling, running air over hot components would
All
be a
right.
beneficial thing? I don't know.
While
PC
we're doing
makers
this,
maybe were
I'm
wrong.
gonna see if I can just fire up a sim. Like I think I've got my old Google Fi sim. I'm gonna pop one in and just see if maybe that might nudge
Activate
the red magic to get like a security patch.
So for me,
So
we haven't had
pardon
a
me
SIM
if you
card in that
see if
phone.
you see your face on the hat pointing towards my camera, it's because I'm gonna see if
Let
we
me.
can get
Okay.
this
No, no, no.
updated
I'm with you.
here.
I'm with you.
But
No, totally. So I think overall, the experience is just not. Like I said, I look at it as if you're making a recommendation for somebody that is a photography or a videography enthusiast, and they want that phone that does that portion of the work so much better, like in Find X6 Pro, like in Xiaomi 13 Pro, or in X90 Pro and X90 Pro Plus. Those are devices that are specifically built around the camera. I feel like they're camera first, device second. Like
correct.
the fact that it makes phone calls is just a coincidence because it's in that shape. But the reality is they've done so much work. Like Grant was posting on, he still gets more updates on his X90 Pro Plus than we get on the X90 Pro. I feel like every time he posts an
X90
update,
Pro has been slow played.
so
Yeah.
slow. Like not, I mean, I got one update, I want to say, like one actual OS update since we got it. It's still a
I
champ. It still
think
runs great. There's no, I'm not
I think we just got another one.
really.
I think
Hold
I
on.
got another one. Again, welcome to two old guys
You
reading
don't
off
say.
build numbers
Well,
on not old on Android phones.
no, because I mean I use the X90 Pro for me is first 2023. Oh wait, okay. So even Grant says even the 8 Pro is on January 2023. Well, at least it's in January. It's in the same year. Check again in a
Yeah.
year. I no, I'm with you, Grant. But no, seriously, the X90 Pro Plus has received quite a bit of updates, and a few features that I feel like I'm waiting personally to see come over on the X90 Pro,
So
like
their
Bluetooth
build
audio.
numbers, if you have your X90 Pro handy, the
Yeah,
build numbers are obnoxious, but my build number ends in W20.
yeah, same here.
Okay. So
Same.
maybe I didn't. Maybe I just dreamt it and I really wanted it to be true.
I keep getting updates to what's it called? The app, their app store all the time. But the
Yeah,
actual
it pops up and you're like, is it going to be it? No, it's not an OS update.
no,
It's
it's
just
not
the
an
app
update.
store. I
It's
understand.
just
Okay.
it's the app store, which I'm happy for you. But like at the end of the day, hold on, what security patch update? Let me see here. About and the one thing that always gets me is that they put the about phone in a different place than everybody else. Hold on. But yeah, I mean, we used to do this with Sony. Now we're doing it here. So let's
I
be
know. Next week on Sony Watch, we actually
Sony.
just got another major update to the One Mark IV. It was like
Oh,
like another 300 meg OTA.
you know
I
what?
shouldn't say
Actually,
major. It wasn't like a huge
so
thing,
March 1st, 2023 security patch update. It's actually not that bad. Google Play services as well on March 1st. So the update
but
that I got wasn't that long ago, but it's still, I mean, we're in the middle of
it's
April.
but it's also it has not gotten as much attention as the Snapdragon version, and that's the kind of stuff that makes me a little anxious
And
when
but that,
we know
yeah,
there's the Pro Plus or an Ultra version that's going only to China, and then there's an international version which is sort of a B. The X90 Pro is such a good phone. I hate saying it's the B team, but we know there's a Pro Plus that is a
it's a
better flavor
continuation
of
from
the
what we
phone.
saw last year with the Dimensity 9000, right? Oppo releases two versions of the same phone. Find X5 Pro, one for China and one for internationally. The Find X5 Pro for China with the Dimensity 9000 is a very different phone
Yeah.
from different sensors, different software experiences, different capabilities in the camera. And I don't know if it was purposely done, but it was almost like they deemed it to be the lesser of the two. And the reality is the Dimensity, the 9200 is actually way more. I mean, it's a very capable. It's practically toe to toe, with the exception of the GPU, because you're talking about custom GPU with the Adreno versus Mali kind of a conversation going on.
Yeah.
It's a very capable, and I love it. I mean, seriously, it's one of the better performing phones that I have. And I just, yeah, updates far and few apart. That one update apparently brought us up to March 1st, but still a champ, still my favorite, one of my favorite B-roll camera. In my videos that you're going to see with the Velotric, as well as with the other bike that I'm working on as well. I love using it for my B-roll shots, like when I'm riding and I want to do those nice pass-through shots.
So
That's my shtick.
a fun little trick.
Yeah.
One of my biggest criticisms of LGs as production devices,
Mhm.
I have my LG V50, and this is kind of a unicorn phone if you are an audio nerd like I am, because this phone applied very little noise reduction and audio processing to the audio recorded on these mics. The V30 is a champ, the V50 is a champ, and the V60 can sometimes make you sound like you're underwater. Like if you're by traffic, it can pull your voice out, but it is doing such a destructive job of trying to cut noise around you that you hear this really digital artifacty warbling effect.
Yeah.
So I plug in this microphone that I will be able to talk about soon, that I am under embargo on right now. And I want to do my talking head, talking to camera footage from the Vivo.
Yeah.
So I plug it in, I just go to the auto video mode, and it sounds like an LG. And I'm crestfallen. Like, this just hurts my soul to have audio like that, because I'm also using an external microphone. There is no need for it to be attacking my audio with that kind of noise processing. So then, just before I pack it in and go with a different phone, I give it a shot in the pro mode, and you get a little pop-up. You're using an external microphone, your audio cannot be processed. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, that's good. Go. Yeah.
oh,
Don't.
oh, that's what I want. And so then it saved. I mean, I should have just been shooting in the pro mode anyway, but I was trying to shoot really, really quick. So I did a quick test in the auto mode, and I was about to cry. It's like, this phone is too good of a camera to wreck my audio like this. But thankfully, if you go into the manual mode on a Vivo and you plug in an external microphone,
Which surprisingly, it's
like,
actually the same way on a Samsung. You have to go into the Pro mode to
yeah.
be able to change it. Pixel, you have to manually select it from a drop down when you connect the audio.
So
I like
the
those things.
Pixel, the Pixel, I'm not as upset about, because there is a
There is no
light
Pro mode.
processing mode, and then there's
Mhm.
a heavy voice feature, a voice highlight mode. And so if you don't do anything to the phone, again, I don't know who this person is that's going to invest in microphones to plug into a phone and isn't going to check settings or anything like that. But apparently someone like that could exist. So if you just plug it in, it is super light touch. And I like that. You can hear it is manipulating the audio, but it
Slightly,
is
yeah.
not nearly as destructive as LG at their worst. The voice highlight feature is pretty good. Again, out of all of these features that are supposed to be like an audio zoom or a speech highlight
Mhm.
mode, I feel like Google's AI is probably the closest to sounding kind of natural.
Mhm.
Like if you really do some critical listening, you can hear the illusion falls apart pretty quick. But as opposed to like the voice processing mode on that Vivo and auto mode, where you hear the warbling and that artifacting behind your voice, you don't get that on a Pixel. So knowing that a Pixel is a phone built to be kind of a point and shoot streamlined camera, it's not what I would choose to shoot on, but it is about as good as I think we can make that seamless autopilot kind of
Yeah.
experience.
And I think it sticks to what the experience of what a Pixel is. It's essentially, it's a camera you pull out of your pocket, you take a picture, and
Yeah,
you kind of know exactly
for
how it's going
sure.
to come out every single time. audio on it as well. It's actually pretty. It's not bad. I just for me, like if I ever want to test out, um, one of my things I usually do when I do it in like buds video, like what I just did with the Nord buds, I like to just share like an example of what the audio sounds like, that it
Yeah,
doesn't
for
sound
sure.
like hot garbage kind of thing. And that's about the only way to share it, other than having a phone call and playing the audio through speakerphone, which I
Doesn't,
also don't
yeah,
feel like
that's
it's the
not a
best
thing.
experience. So
I like using the Pixel as my Bluetooth earbud testing.
yeah,
Like I think
it's a decent experience.
I know it's touching the
Hmm.
audio a little, but it's not sweetening it too much. And I
Yeah,
feel like the Pixel has been a little bit more consistent with some of the earbuds that don't play nice with Samsung's Pro mode.
yeah,
In terms of just raw flexibility, Samsung is probably leading the pack,
yeah, yeah.
but I've had the flakiest experiences with all of these other Bluetooth earbuds on my desk, where
Hmm.
the Pixel seems to play nice with most things that I give it.
Absolutely.
My Galaxy phones have gone like, oh no, we don't like those, and then I'll go to record and you're like, oh, but it doesn't work. Um, so short story, incredibly long. We
As
should
we
talk
usually do.
about a cool heads-up display.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Absolutely. Both of us have an opportunity to play around a little bit where I'm going to say, not that I'm trying to preempt myself and jump into a
Hmm.
conversation. I have enjoyed the Rokid Max s- so much. They fixed, I mean, I'm not going to say they fixed, they improved a few things in there. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, how cool does Juan look right? Okay, I'm going to say this is too much of it. How cool does
Not
that
this
dude with
way,
the
buddy.
glasses look? Because, like, everybody in the chat, really cool, TK, really cool.
My problem adjusting these is because I'm also wearing bone conduction
I was
headphones,
gonna
so I
say,
can't hear TK
not
if I don't
only
make
are
those
you wearing a
adjustments.
hat, but you're wearing bone conduction headphones, and now you're trying to be cool.
I've got to be on brand. Is
Yeah,
that
no,
is
you got to be
correct,
on
TK?
brand. The glasses are basically an evolutionary over the Air that we got a chance to see late last year. The biggest difference, obviously, in there is the support of 120 frames per second refresh rate, up to 600 perceived nits in there, and the brightness, which is actually pretty bright. I mean, with the shades on, with the total blackout on,
Have you noticed, like, as opposed to the Rokid Air,
yeah,
I have not been able to turn these up as bright as the Rokid Air.
it
It's like if I
because
put the visor on, it's like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
searing my eyeballs at max brightness.
yeah. So for me, it's like I like the extra controls. I like the fact that we have volume control. We like to have the ability of also controlling the what's it called, the diopathy, not the myopathy,
Diopters. You're right.
diopters.
Diopters.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
diopters on the
If
each
you're sort
eye.
of nearsighted or myopic,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can make those
exactly. And
adjustments.
for me, because I wear glasses, absolutely game changer. You
So
correct it. You said
this is kind of tricky. And anyone
you're
who
you're
might catch can
there's a
because
little bit
I've
of a
got.
lag. Hold on.
Can you
Yeah, let me
see
do it.
through? Because you can see my you
I'm
can
gonna
see my
make you a little bit bigger
reflection.
there.
I'm gonna try and move that up. No, that didn't do anything. So you
No, no,
can see the
I can.
reflection
Oh,
on my
yeah,
computer
stay.
monitor,
No, no, no,
but
no. One, go down, look down, and to your right. No, a little bit up, a little bit up. Yeah, right there. So if you guys are
okay.
looking straight at it, it's right under the display reflection of what he's looking at. His display, that's what he's looking at. That's the actual screen from the
So
glasses.
this is another big deal where they have minimized the amount of leakage.
Hmm.
So it's a little bit less obvious that you're wearing screens on your eyeballs. It's still like if you look at it, you can see it,
Absolutely.
but
But if you
it's
have
a
the
little bit
visor,
more discreet.
yeah. But what I loved about it also, the fact is we no longer need a screwdriver to take out those visors
I
off.
know that was
That
so
was the
dumb on the
biggest
Rokid
thing.
Air.
I was like, that was the thing with the TCLs that I loved the most, was like pop on, pop off. They were magnetic. And this one's clamped. It's not
Ambient,
magnetic, but it's
yeah,
still like night
so
and
much
day.
better.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. And the design is still really good. The 90-degree angle cable that we have on the back is actually very nice. I wished was a little bit longer. This is my only thing about it is because I want to be able to plug it in from a slightly different computer, but it's not hard for you to buy a high quality USB-C cable for video. Very nice. The bridge configuration is right there. Both the volume rocker and the brightness control are on the right arm of your glasses, and the diopters are right above each eye. So really good. You're trying to get it to focus. I get it.
It's focusing on my face, and I'll keep this at the same plane of
No, no,
existence.
absolutely.
So,
I haven't
so I
installed the app yet, but I'm enjoying the
oh,
more.
I would play with it, but it hasn't really changed a lot. I mean, because you got to
Yeah,
play with the Rokid Air, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we
No, no,
were
no. We
both
did
playing
this.
with them at
We
the same
both
time.
did the same thing. We're doing the same thing again as
Yeah.
usual.
So the Rokid Air, I still like them. They were. I personally preferred the fit on the Nreal Air.
Yeah,
They fit my face better, and I'm not nearsighted, so the diopters aren't as big a draw for me. But again, if you need to make that kind of
adjustment.
ocular adjustment, then this is an instant sort of recommendation over the TCLs or the Rokids. But cleaning up, getting better speakers on the arms, improving the diopter experience, and minimizing some of the fringing effect, because the diopters on the Rokid Air can kind of fringe out the corners
A little bit. Yeah.
of your view. The Max have improved on all of that. So now I think it's
They,
a more even foot race between the Rokid Max and the Nreal Air.
yeah. And I think that's absolutely what I felt like. It's such a big step in the experience from the Air to the Max, not only with the refresh rate, but also with just the overall clarity of the image. I love that one. The sound is definitely much better.
Yeah.
And I love the simplicity. And I actually not to kind of back on it, but the casing, it's actually pretty nice too.
The
Like
the
the
the,
the,
the
the
case
shell.
is really cool.
It's
Yeah.
a hard shell all around, multi-layer, much easier to figure out how to actually put the glasses. Like you could just put them in, like because there's a place for where the nose bridge is. You close it and you're done, and it's protected. You throw that in your bag and you're ready to go.
Is proper.
Um, and for me, it's this is where I like to tie up the story. I've been enjoying them with something that actually supports a desktop mode, like the Honor Magic 5 Pro. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a thing that we don't typically get. But no, like I can do screen mirroring. I can prop up a desktop mode, launch into Netflix, open up multiple experiences, and I think that's where leveraging more functional things out of your phone that you typically don't get. Like this is
Yeah.
so it always kills me when people want to buy $1,000 plus phones, but they're not really trying to find ways to leverage that experience that you get in there with what the benefits are. Like be it a camera focus experience, be it a like a bang for the buck, where I feel like the Magic 5 Pro is going to be I seriously feel like Honor's always stuck to their true story of trying to giving you a true, I'd say motto is giving you more for what you pay for, and they're still really leveraging that, and they really market it in that. One of the very few devices that still have a desktop experience on. And between them, Ready
Mm-hmm.
For, and Dex, literally, like, I mean, and I'm not going to say that Huawei doesn't have one, but obviously Huawei devices are much more scarce
Yeah, it's a
by
little different.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Huawei, to be honest, Honor's entire UI system is somewhat of a derivative of what Huawei's EMUI used to be, but it still at least runs and it's easy to connect. It has a wireless mode. For me, for the first, it's literally I've had this for about maybe a week.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy with it, and seriously, it just stays in my back. When I go to the office and I want to disconnect, I close my door and I just pop up the glasses and I just disconnect. I just want to be able to enjoy my content, and
I,
it's a lot
I
of fun.
I had a chat with our buddy Trisha
Oh, hey,
Hirschberger, and she
hey,
was like, "Yeah, I played around with the Unreal Air, but I didn't really think that the AR was any good." And you're like, completely agree. I feel like them being sold on this notion of augmented reality is overselling what's actually kind of the weakest part of the whole experience. And again, it's like what Samsung does. 200 megapixels is not what makes a Note 23 camera. I mean, genuinely, the Note 23 camera can be exciting, has nothing to do with 200 megapixels. And I feel the same way about Rokid and Nreal and TCL to a similar degree too.
yeah, the major players, yeah,
The AR stuff is super rudimentary. It's got very limited support for the apps and services that are installed on your phone. It's basically just a couple floating browsers. But the whole notion of putting a giant gaming monitor on your face that can then fold up and fit in a shirt pocket if you really need to just
Oh,
quickly.
absolutely. The visor actually protects the glasses quite a bit.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right. You're able to pop this in your pocket and walk away.
if
Yeah.
you really need to, like, hey, I was using them. Oh, I need to get going. You could just detach the cable and kind of use them like sunglasses for a short period of time. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Because
that's
you
not
can
beyond
actually see through them.
the pale. So I was talking to her about it, and just like the one killer feature is plug it into a Steam Deck or plug it into a Nintendo Switch, get as comfortable as you want to get. Like if you want to recline a chair, if you want to like snuggle into a recliner, if you just want to lie flat on your back,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter where you look, you're going to see a big screen presentation projection of what you're going to play. And you can do that as comfortably as you want to be. And that is not something people are used to doing like on an airplane.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God,
telling you,
yes, no.
this is the most comfortable
My
experience you
favorite
can
part
have
of a
gaming on an
flight
airplane.
is ever since I borrowed your your
Yeah,
pair before I got into my
it's
experiences
so
there.
good.
It is so it's a life changer for long flights, a life changer for any kind of experience. Like I said, just having the ability of plopping in that big of a screen, and it's not the early generation. We're talking improvements over generation and generation. This is the biggest difference that we can focus on. These classes have gone through many iterations, and what we're getting with the Max is many iterative improvements and upgrades that they've gone through. And like just specifically, the fact that you no longer need a screwdriver to change the frame, the faceplate, because that was the biggest thing for them before. You had one faceplate and you had to keep it on. But if you wanted to, do what the TCLs did, you couldn't do that without having to have hardware. So out of the box, I feel like they've checked a lot of the things I was concerned about with the last generation. And for me, at least right now, I think if you're anybody that's looking for, like you said, just the ability of taking your large screen TV with you anywhere you go, you're in the car, you're on a plane, you're in a cab, you just want to basically be able to disconnect and still be somewhat aware of your environment. This definitely fits it. And I feel like they're definitely doing really good. Rokid is doing really nice. I don't know why the naming Max, I feel like is a little bit throwing me because I don't I feel like I don't like it. It's like, yeah,
They
I
could have been the Rokid Air 2.
yeah, and
I
I feel
feel
like
like
that
that could have been okay.
because it's a generational upgrade, but the Max, I understand what they're trying to say. They're saying basically because to me, when you say the word Max, I'm assuming a bigger screen, right?
Well,
Maximizing
that
the
is
experience.
true. I mean, like the Rokid Air have a 43-degree field of view.
This one's
Rokid
50.
Max have a 50-degree field of
Yeah,
view, but I feel like they are so confident in every little improvement having gotten better or bigger. The
yeah.
sound quality is
Oh,
bigger.
for
The
sure,
field of
much better.
view is bigger.
The bright.
So the gaming features got faster. 120 hertz refresh rate micro OLEDs are pretty sexy. I understand why, but it genuinely could have been called the Rokid Air 2.
Mhm.
So now I'll be curious to see because I feel like Nreal is focusing just a little bit more on software.
Mhm.
They're going to be coming out with the Windows, a Microsoft Windows plugin for the Nreal Air that can kind of enable more of the head tracking features,
That's good.
as opposed to just using them as a passive display. Rokid seems to be going a little more hardware focused because they also announced that. Did you see that big chunky controller thing?
No, 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 no. I didn't even see
The
that.
the Rokid Station, I think it's called. So
Okay.
not every phone has video out, so
No.
they're making their own phone-sized controller thing that can then also power the glasses. So you can have the sort of Rokid experience, but if your phone doesn't support it, like an iPhone doesn't really support this, they've got a standalone computer thing, and it's also
Right.
got some buttons on it that can act a little like a
Well,
rudimentary game
but
controller.
they still have the wireless adapter that they had from the last generation,
Sure.
right? That's the same one with the
But
HDMI.
Station, I think, is like, again, I think Unreal is looking to solve some of the teething pains with
Hmm.
software, and I don't think we're gonna. Well, I mean, we might. Actually, I have no idea. If Rokid is putting out new hardware, Unreal is probably cooking up something too.
I wouldn't be
But
surprised. Yeah,
they made a big splash with the updates coming to software on the current generation of Unreal Air.
that's
Rokid
good.
looks like, hey, we've got all these problems that we need to solve, and people keep complaining about compatibility in phones and things, and I think they're looking at solving that through hardware.
Hardware. Yeah, no, no,
So
and I
it's two sort of divergent strategies on how to get more face displays in people's hands. But I'm very bullish on this accessory. I feel
I-
one, everybody should have a portable display of some kind, and
and I think
some
pricing
can
wise,
be
Yeah.
They're not that far off. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. The price point, if you think about it for a portable solution, and I think it always gets me. This is where I kind of get a little bit antsy, a little bit more. In recent generations, I've started seeing devices remove. Like for me, the biggest thing I started that was surprising me is the 11. OnePlus 11 does not have
OnePlus
video
11.
out.
Nope.
The OnePlus 10T didn't have a video out, but then I can't blame the 10T.
It's
The
a
10T
T.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It's a T series, so I was like, that's okay. But then the 11 didn't have it, and I'm like, okay, so this is a little bit of a
Or a
concern,
Galaxy Z Flip
And I feel like
not having DeX.
$1,000 phone and not having, not even a Dex, not even, it doesn't have video out.
Yeah.
Xnay on Dex, don't get me wrong. Dex is a big portion, and I understand they
Yeah.
want to keep that to the $1,500, $1,800, Z Fold series. No video out, like purposely no video out. And we're starting to see that. And again, Pixels don't have video out. They've never had them. They're not going to put them in there. Those are things that kind of are starting to hinder the experience. And this is where a hardware like what Roku is trying to do, leveraging screen mirroring on them to be able to kind of get you to that experience. These are things that we need to kind of start, looking into what are some solutions we can do. But yeah, for me, it's like, it's a big thing. If a phone doesn't have video out, I start wondering if this is, it's a feature that needs to be listed, right? I think if it needs to be on the spec sheet. Video
Yeah.
out, yes, because it's never on the spec sheet. Nobody ever talks about it. We get the phone and we test it and talk about it.
We've shared a few like on the Discord.
Yeah.
We've shared a few like Amazon reviews.
Yeah.
There was one, this person was really lit up that I think it was an Enreal. I think it was an Enreal review that this company lies to their consumers.
Okay.
Because they advertise that this is a feature that works on USB-C and they have a Pixel. And this company, Enreal, they tried to make it sound like the problem was with Google. Right. Like the problem is really with Google. Their glasses don't work with Google. And you're like, yeah, that was actually all completely Pixels don't have video output. You're not going to have glasses work with that. And we've glossed over it. We've let other reviewers just gloss over those features, not highlight them, not support them, not explain to people why this is a benefit if one phone has something that another phone doesn't have. Right. And we've let the competition kind of, I mean, again, like I said earlier in this, like I kind of feel Android was at its peak when we had a vibrant landscape of competition that had different solutions that not every company was trying to copy Apple. Yeah. And we don't have that anymore. And we're starting to lose some of these power user features on devices that are too expensive to be losing those power user features.
And that was, yeah, and that would be my biggest thing, because if ROG can have it, but I mean, not even Red Magic has it. Video out is a feature that should be. I don't think it's worth the savings of the however much dollar it is to go over to USB 3.0 as opposed to USB 2, so that you can save that little that expense, because we're going into USB 4, 3.1, 3.2. Yep. The technology has advanced so much more than just video out. But like, to me, those are big things. Like, with the Find X6 Pro, for me, I love the fact that I can plug that into anything, yeah. and those are it's a feeling. It's a,
just for fun, when I was trying to show the light leakage,
yeah.
I had that connected to the Red Magic 7. So the Red Magic 7, I forgot I had turned on desktop mode. It does actually have, it's not DeX. It looks like another home screen is added, but it is a 16:9
formatted
video out, not 20:9 like the phone screen is.
Not a screen mirror, yeah.
So again, it was like if I had hooked up a controller or a mouse, I would have been able to play a game 16:9 on the Rokid connected to the Red Magic 7. And you're like, that's really good. That's a really good gaming.
But that's why we like it. Yeah, no. I mean, and I think that's the biggest thing that I appreciate about these features. And I hope OnePlus does bring it back with whatever version of whatever device that they're coming up next. We saw last thing I want to talk about. Obviously, we talked about everything else. We covered everything. I kind of want to throw this out also to some of the people that we have with us on the chat. OnePlus is trying something that is very different this week. They're going with a very different approach to pre-depositing money on a device that you haven't seen, that hasn't had any reviews. The only experience that anybody's ever had with it is, even like such as myself, I got to see it at a show floor. I didn't get a chance to test
Oh,
it out.
I was gonna say I got to see it in a press release, just like
I know.
everyone else.
I got to see it in. Yeah, no, I actually got a chance to actually hold it, play around with it for maybe 5-6 minutes, with one person very closely watching me and monitoring me. Let's just
Breathing
say,
on you the
breathing
whole
down my
time.
neck, basically saying, "If you
Ugh.
run, I will drop you." No, no, I kid. Tyler was definitely very nice.
Blow
No,
dart.
exactly. It's like, he's code red. He's running. Get him. Um,
I mean, let's be fair. Code TK.
code
Code TK.
TKO on TK now. TKO on TK now.
Pulling a runner. Pulling a runner.
Yeah. Um, so the question would be very would you put down, would you ever consider putting money down on, and then just keep in mind, it is
Sure.
refundable. It's not a full, you're not losing that money, but would you put
Yeah.
down $99 on a phone or a tablet that you don't know the full price of? But the only benefit for that is that if you do the deposit, that when the device does come out and you decide to buy
Mhm.
it, you get a free $100 to $150 perk you wouldn't have
Well,
gotten otherwise.
you get a
One or the other.
free no,
Yeah.
well, hold on. You get a free $150 keyboard,
Or
and you get the pen half price. So
true.
you put
Yes.
down $100 and you get
The pen for 50.
a pen and a keyboard for $50, where that would normally be $250.
250 exactly is what they're, at least what the
And then you
website is
just
saying.
have to pay off the remainder of the tablet.
Yes.
So here's my and I'm kind of piggybacking on this because Ike talks tech. He
Exactly. Yeah.
streams before we do. He kind of brought this up here too, and I thought it was really interesting because Ike is one of the most lovably positive tech nerds in our community. He is just so upbeat, different strokes for different folks. That's like, he's got this really lovely way of saying that's your opinion without it
Hmm.
being confrontational,
Yeah.
right? So he can call out someone and say, "Hey, well, that's just a personal preference, and like what you like, man, you go dig it, you go like that thing. That's awesome." And you can kind of hear in his voice like, "But that's not for me," you know. But he's so darn
And
cute about it.
a lot of people voice their opinion on it,
So,
but yeah.
but to this specifically, he brought up the OnePlus Pad, and he had some kind of the same concern in your voice, like, "What are you paying for? We don't know how much it's going to be." But then, by the time we got done, kind of breaking down, for $50, you get what is going to be retail $250 worth of accessories, and the tablet's going to stay the same price. The tablet's got some really great specs on it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to
Yeah.
be built really well. It's getting
Yep.
to benefit from all of the improvements. Excuse me, sorry. Benefiting from all the improvements coming to Android 13, where we should have
Hmm.
some slightly better split screen and multitasking capabilities. If you're in the market for a tablet, man, there aren't really very many good premium Android options out there.
Yeah.
So
And I have a feeling
there,
that it's still going to undercut. I'm pretty sure
I think it's
OnePlus is not going to go the Samsung Tab price point. They're going to
no.
go under, and even at that point, if you
And
think about it, yeah,
think about a Tab S8 Plus
yeah,
with an 8 Gen 1 against this Dimensity 9000, and we know OnePlus is not going to go for the same premium price tag. I could even see this tablet going up into the $500+ range, and it's still
which
a
I
pretty good competitor,
yeah.
and it'll ballpark somewhere around where we're expecting the Pixel Pad to show up. If you were shopping a tablet, I
I have
don't
some
think
thoughts on
this
the Pixel.
one's
Yeah, no,
I don't
sorry.
think this one's dangerous. I think this one's pretty easy.
I will say, from holding it, because I got a chance to actually feel the material, it is premium. It does not feel like a cheap
It
tablet.
looks, yeah.
The materials they chose for the keyboard is very much like what we had with the Surface. It's a nice soft fabric touch, magnetically clamps very nicely. The case closes very nicely. The pen magnetically connects like an iPad, like I'm not going to say it like like the Samsung tablet, but it sits at more of the top edge as opposed to the being in the back. So they've really focused on the experience and the UI and the experience in there. I think what I would say is, if you are in the market for a tablet, this is somewhat for me like a no-brainer because of the way they're setting it up.
Hmm.
It's at its core, you're going to get the entire shebang for $50 more than retail, just
Yeah,
for the tablet if you do the pre-order. Now, it doesn't
yeah.
mean that OnePlus is probably not going to do any more sales. Please understand,
They
this is
will
going to be,
definitely do more
they will,
sales,
yeah, they're
but
going to
you
have
know they're
more in other.
also hyping this pre-order in a way that they haven't done for their phones in a while.
And not any, I haven't
So
actually seen many or any other companies do it in the US. I understand that this is something
not
maybe
like
more,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like put money down on something you haven't seen. But you kind of know what it is, you know the specs, but you just haven't had any reviews put out. So either way, I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I'm actually seriously considering putting my money on that one, because for me, it has that, it fits into that little bit of a, what I wanted to be able to take, like something a little bit smaller. Like I have the Tab S7, the S8 Plus, no, S8 Ultra.
You have the Ultra, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a
You have the big
massive
boy.
tablet. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never travel with it. It's here. It sits for me here because I use it as a display, and I use it just for the office when I want to watch some stuff. But I
Yeah.
never travel with it because this is just a monster. It's a massive display, 12.4 inches. Like seriously.
So I'm hoping that, again, I even if we're talking like getting into that $500 range, man,
Mhm.
this is a pretty good. Even if I'm assuming it's at the higher end of what we think it could be priced at, we're still in a ballpark. We're still in a territory that, with the accessories for $50, that is brutal competition for a mid-ranger Chromebook.
Yeah,
Like you were on like a Compagno 1300. A Dimensity 9000 is going to beat that Compagno.
absolutely. Yeah, no,
And you'd
absolutely.
have
Because
the keyboard and the pen in the tablet.
well,
So,
and
uh,
144 hertz refresh rate display. We're not talking about
yeah.
a low end. It's a 1080p.
So not
Is
not
it
an OLED,
QH?
but it is
No,
144 hertz. It's that
yeah,
weird. It's like
seven.
what, 2800 or 2700
Yeah,
by
it's slightly
2000.
higher than 1080, but it's not. Yeah, so it's, from what I saw, at least, like I said, I didn't get a chance to play any media on it. So for me, it was more about like looking at the UI and just standard Oxygen OS kind of this home screen. I think it's a compelling story for what they're offering. I don't think it's
Hmm.
going to disappoint. That's what I'm trying to shoot for. If you're in the market and you're looking for this, I feel like this is almost as safe as of a bet that you can make, purely because I actually got a chance to see the hardware. I know what it feels and I
Well,
know
and
how nice it was.
it wasn't that long ago where a $300 or $400 Android tablet was kind of garbage.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now I'm assuming that this is going to land somewhere between $400 and $600.
I feel like that's
And
a reasonable area. Yeah.
that's my ballpark, and that's a
Yeah.
wide
Yeah.
window. I'm not any kind of Nostradamus here. I think that's like me being the safest I could be in guessing,
Yeah.
but that is good mid-spec Chromebook territory for
And to be
for
honest, the
something on paper
9000
that
is
looks
not
like
that old.
it's
Yeah. The 9000 is seriously
not
still very.
only is it not that old.
Mhm.
The 9000 went toe to toe with the 8 Plus Gen 1, and both of those chips are an order of magnitude more powerful than most of our $400 to $500 Chromebooks. It's not
Absolutely.
like they're a little bit more powerful. Oh, this is a laptop form factor. It must be a laptop to do laptop things. A Dimensity 9000 is
Yeah.
going to slap that machine around, and it will not be pretty. It will not be close.
No.
It's going to win
Gloves off. Oh,
demonstrably.
it's going to TKO everything. Let's just say that. Let's just start putting that into
It's
the show.
so it's the beginning of Rocky 3, right?
Yeah.
Rocky's all full of himself. He thinks he's the better fighter, and Clubber Lang comes in and just cleans his clock, right? It wasn't close. It wasn't a fight. It was a massacre.
And so with that kind of coming out, I feel like we're not too far off. Next week we're going to see a lot of things come up. We have on the 18th, we're going
Yeah.
to find out more about the Ultra, which I think we're both, everybody in our chat and everybody that knows us knows exactly how excited we are. The concept of having a variable aperture on a 1-inch sensor, the 989, the year of the 989, and then also marrying that with triple 898 IMX
It'd be cool.
898. Like, this is crazy. It's a quad
This
camera
this hurt
setup from heaven.
this hurts my soul because
I
I
know.
think I have to go Xiaomi for the variable aperture, but damn, do I want those Oppo companion sensors.
So
And
did
man,
I will to every single point, and every time I look at this phone, every time I want to take an image, I want to take a picture and just enjoy what this camera can do. It is just, it's a crazy phone. Let me see, kind of like just the ability of, and
yeah,
this is not even that good of a representation of it, but like the colors, the images, the video, the stabilization, the performance, everything I
yeah.
do on this phone is just crazy nice. um, I don't use it as a B-roll camera because I still rely on the X90 Pro, but I love using this as my main camera. So this is, to me, like, seriously, anytime I want to
Mhm.
produce content with it, and supports for audio input from the external audio sources. You just disable the audio. There's a setting in
Yep.
this in Oppo devices where they do audio processing for cleaning up the audio. If you
Mhm.
turn that off, the smart function, and just default it back to standard audio, it accepts external audio over USB-C.
Oh
So
yeah.
a lot of, like, there's a lot of nice things. I'm really looking. I'll say this. Uh, the moment I heard about this, I started shooting out emails to all my contacts.
For sure.
Yes. But yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see. A lot of the information is leaking like it's like an open faucet at this point. Leaks, down to, unfortunately, confirmation that at least on the leaking side, that the 1080p 60 is going to be the maximum on the front camera. But the reality is, nobody's buying that phone for the front-facing experience. Everybody's buying it for what it can do on the main sensors in the back.
And
Don't get me
just
wrong.
get
Same thing.
good at
Same thing with
taking
this
a
guy.
rear camera selfie.
No,
Just
no,
turn the
absolutely,
phone around. I do
exactly.
want to highlight just a couple comments here. I had it up on the screen. Grant likes tech. I felt similar after the WTF moment of the deposit for unknown price. It felt like a good deal with the freebies given the refundable deposit. So, like, even if you don't like what it's going to be priced at, it's not like you're
You're losing
married
anything.
to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
The,
really feel like if you know someone who's shopping a tablet and the price to performance ratio that you're going to get out of this is going to be a fierce competitor against a similarly equipped iPad.
yeah,
This is a good one to check out. This is a good one to recommend people keep their eye on, and put the money in. And if you don't like what the final number is going to be, then you can just pull your money out. Michael
exactly.
Peppertech brings up a great point because we're still waiting out to see what Samsung's going to do for the next Galaxy Tab.
Is
He
it
just
that
looked it
time of the
up.
year again? Okay, crap.
Oh, I hope so because, like, for the longest time, Samsung was the only company I could point to seriously for any
Hmm.
type of tablet recommendation.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of Android, it was because of DeX.
Hmm.
And so now,
They allow you at least to use Dex as your default
as
running
their
operating.
default UI,
Yeah,
but
exactly, which I like.
now it's getting a little bit tougher because of exactly what Michael Peppertech brings up here. Not the Tab S8 Ultra. He says to get a Tab S8 Plus with the keyboard, that's $900 for the tablet and $229 for their keyboard. Which,
Which
if
they were
at the
giving away
high
for free
end,
at the pre-order side. But yeah, sorry.
so they do that. But
Yeah, they
again, we're
do.
saying the MSRP of this, that's still, he's saying it's the One Plus version of this, if we estimate towards the higher end, could be a little more than half of what a Tab S8 Plus can do. And
Yeah,
if this is a Dimensity 9000 versus an 8 Gen 1, then OnePlus has the more powerful solution. The more powerful solution with the better performance per watt, better battery life. The
exactly.
Samsung will not compete, and it's going to be demonstrably more expensive. To which, who said it like right after? Oh, Farhan.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're talking about $1,100 for a Tab S8 Plus, I'd rather buy a Windows tablet instead. Lenovo's latest Windows tablet is around that price. And if
Yeah.
you want to take a step down in performance, you can pick up a Lenovo. I always forget what is it, the Lenovo Tab P11 Pro Gen 2 or second version. That starts now at $350 or
Yeah.
$330, and that is a monster tablet to pick up. And I think it also has like its own desktop video out mode, which isn't as robust as Dex, but it's pretty close. You know, like
As long as
that's
you
a
have video out,
third
man.
the price.
Yeah.
a third the price of what Samsung is doing, and it's just a slightly older chip, a little less performant than an 8 Gen 1.
And I
So
think, and that's what I feel like,
that's huge.
and it's going to come down to Samsung not having competition. That's really what it was. They lost all the competition in that premium experience, and what they basically said, every year over year they keep increasing the price. The 12s Ultra was like $1,200 at the entry level. And the
Yeah,
only reason I went for, I seriously, if it wasn't for the screen size, I would not have gone for the Ultra. The Tab 7 Plus, the Tab S7 Plus was working perfectly fine for me. It's just that the display was just not as large as the 12s Ultra. That one just
sure.
took it to literally
Yeah.
to the aspect that I needed it for what I need to do with it. But at the end of the day, you really have to find the features that you care about. The large display, quad speakers, their high refresh rate, keyboard and pen, somewhere around the yeah, even if it's 600 for the tablet, 650 with
Hmm.
the keyboard, it's really hard to mess with that experience. And especially when you're getting Oxygen OS, which we already know
I
and
mean,
love, it's a really good
price it at
OS.
the price it at the high end of what I think it might be. Let's say it's
Yeah,
$650 to pick up the pre-order kit right now.
which just includes everything basically. But yeah.
That's half the price of a Surface Pro 9 SQ3.
Oh my god, yeah. That's
And if you're
true.
running more Androidy apps, that Dimensity 9000 is going to compete very well against the SQ3.
Well,
Like,
yeah, and we both got a chance we didn't really get a chance to play with the 9000. We
we didn't
actually,
get
or
it
did
here.
we?
Yeah.
No, we got the,
We
I
got a
also want to say
9000
the
Plus in the
plus.
Asus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Asus, which we never really got a chance to play with that much. We saw it at the tech summit from MediaTek for like a point 0.5 seconds as Brad was walking around and showing it
I
off. And it's
know.
like,
He was like,
it's like,
I have it.
I got it. Bye. Yeah, no, I know. The guy, every time I see him, I love to consider, I always go up to him and say, "Hey, dude, what's in your pockets? Hi, how you doing?
But
Nice knowing you.
yeah,
What's in
right.
your pockets? Yeah,
What do you have for me now?
what do you have now?"
But what have you done for me lately? And Michael
Y-
Corcoran saying, and again, this isn't full MSRP, but a Lenovo Duet 5, which is sort of like a Surface Pro clone, comes with a keyboard for like $500 or $600. I want to say the MSRP was higher. So if we're comparing oranges to oranges, I thought it was a little more expensive than that. But
Yeah,
again, it's a Lenovo that's regularly on sale at a price point that we used to think was mediocre computer pricing. Now this stuff is surprisingly performant
yeah.
at ridiculously low prices. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of expecting Pixel Pad to start landing between like 399 and
We should be hearing
499,
about the
somewhere
Pixel
in there.
Pad any at the moment the IO I think starts. They should start with that. I think at this point, announcing something is supposed to come out in Q1 that doesn't come out in Q1, and you got obviously just. And I have a little bit mixed feelings about the Pixel Pad a little bit as well because of what it's intended to be. The
Yeah.
Pixel Tab has a functional purpose intended behind it. It's supposed to combine the Nest Hub Max and a tablet at the same time, because at its core, it's supposed to. If you're not using it, it's
It's
basically
a
a Google
smart
Home.
display that you can take
Take
off
the
of the
display.
stand
Yeah.
and walk around
So
with it.
at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's really, because if you don't put it back on the base, whoever is at home can't use that smart
I
speaker,
know, right?
right? You're like a stand sitting in the kitchen. Um, so I think that's where the functional purpose of it, I feel like how it's going to be approached
No, I
to
completely
consumer.
agree with you because Pixel Pad I think is going to be a home terminal,
Yeah. And that gives you
whereas
the ability to walk it
OnePlus
around with
Pad
is a
is
tablet.
nipping at the heels of a laptop replacement.
Yeah.
Like if you have the pen and the keyboard with the trackpad, you have the
Yeah.
whole setup. There's a lot that you can do there that maybe you don't need a laptop or you definitely wouldn't need a Chromebook. Like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
only
Yeah. Yeah.
differentiator is whether or not you have a full Chrome browser and you just get Firefox or something, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. No,
Um,
and I think that's the biggest thing you want to keep in mind. That's why I was kind of like, I know I want to say maybe a month or so ago when before I got a chance to see it, um, my initial approach was basically saying, what OnePlus is trying to one up Google and try to release their tablet before Google does.
there's a
And then
little
I started
crowbar
thinking about it.
separation in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very delineated experience where Google's not really releasing it in the same aspect. It still works as a tablet, and I'm sure you can use it as a tablet,
I
but because of
think
the size of it, it's not something
Yeah.
you would have in, like, I
I,
wouldn't have it on
I,
my desk here.
I think the Pixel Pad is going to be the better solution if you're mostly using it at home and you like the smart assistant style. And I
Mhm.
think the OnePlus Pad is going to be the better buy if you like to leave your house with some kind of laptop or
And
tablet or
leverage
something like that.
connectivity to your smartphone, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were talking about sharing content and sharing internet
Yeah.
connectivity between your phone. So those are going to be the things. I feel like there's going to be some good, cool things coming up there. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll find out next week. The price, I think, is on, if I'm not mistaken. And overall, what you're going to basically see at the end of the day is OnePlus moving into a new realm, right? So this is
Yeah.
a new thing for them, but I feel like they can definitely do a good job with it based on what they've done before.
Man,
I,
how crazy is it that we're bringing these up and like Lenovo is this dark horse and they've got some of the strongest tablets out right now too. I
that
mean,
have been
like
out for a while.
this
Yeah.
this market is crazy right now. And I just got another PR from another enthusiast brand that's looking to make an SQ3. Not an
Nice.
SQ3. It's a proper Snapdragon 8CX Gen 3, but the same chip that Microsoft is using in the Surface Pro. And it's like same similar kind of conversation. Hey, we can play with this kind of hardware. We can actually undercut Microsoft and deliver almost identical performance. And you're like, that is insane that now we're starting to talk about this kind of ARM strategy finally. uh, Again, it's not maturing. This is still brand spanking new stuff, but it's accessible to consumers in a way that even a year ago that wouldn't have been it. And now
Yeah.
it's like this is a really good option to consider, especially if you're talking like, hey, I want to maybe have Windows on ARM and use Android apps and use Linux software. There's a reason why you might want to spend a little bit more on a tablet that can do all that. But if you don't need all that, like
You're
half the price, a third the price, and you've got an Android tablet that can cover a lot of ground and cover a
a
lot
lot
of
of ground.
work.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. So we'll find out more, and we'll see how things are going there. But I noticed that time kind of escaped. Obviously, you put out a couple. I think you put out a couple of videos this week, or you're at the podcast on Monday, and you just posted the Velotric
Mm-hmm.
video that
The
just dropped this
Velotric.
morning. Yeah,
So I'm
uh,
gonna have the video out on the Rokid, and then maybe over the weekend I might have an embargo on a microphone. So
nice.
I
Yeah,
can't say anything more than that,
stay tuned.
but it
Stay
could happen.
tuned. It will happen.
I
Yeah,
can
no,
tell you that the video was shot by the Vivo X90 Pro.
nice.
I can't tell you
Immensity.
what the audio was recorded on.
We'll let your ears be the judge on that. For me,
Hmm.
like I said, I'm finishing up my video on the Velotric, the Thunder one. I'm a little bit behind on due to some slight technical difficulties on my side, but the Magic 5 Pro is going to be out tomorrow for the video, and hopefully the Velotric by the end of the week. And then after that, I'll focus on the Rokid, the Max, because again, it's such a easy pair of glasses to step into, especially
Hmm.
having experienced them in earlier generations. Um, and then just kind of close out and do more things. I did get an update that hopefully my pre-built PC hope will get delivered within a week. They got in the 7950X 3D, so that has been the
Nice.
longest. I waiting for hardware is just crazy. So we'll have
Yeah.
to see how that comes out, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming, and I am going to try to ramp up and find some time to try to get things out back to more of a consistent 2 videos a week,
Yeah.
because lately I've been just doing 1, and I don't like that much. I want to be back to my consistent
I've got a
workflow.
list here, and you're like, oh man, I am way behind
I no, I
with
have quite a few.
videos.
I have a few portable monitors that I got from I have one from You Perfect,
Yep,
and
same. I think we
and
have the same one now. Yeah.
I hate it when we say I have this and you're like, yeah, dude, it's right here too. But yeah, no, so like a few things here and there, and that I need to kind of start working on, and trying to literally push the content out. But it's exciting. So with that being said, I do want to say first and foremost, thank you very much for hanging out with us. For everybody that's been with us the whole time, I know we went a little bit over. We not only did we
We
not even
always
say
do.
anything, we didn't
Yeah.
even say we're going to try to end it at 1.5. We went straight to 2. They're like back to normal. Um, but thank you very much. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Don't forget to catch up with Juan on Monday with the SGTQA. We'll be back for another episode of the Best of Our Week next week, hopefully with some more exciting. We'll definitely be able to talk more about the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. We'll talk more, obviously, about the announcement. I think it's after, right? The 18th is before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 18th. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be fine. I was like, yeah.
It's
too
5
late.
days from now, and we'll be recording 7 days from now. So we'll be able to talk about the Xiaomi more.
5
So
minus 2
expect-
plus 5 equals. Okay, I'm not really good at math right now. But yeah, for sure. So with that being said, I do want to say thank you very much. Have a good week. Stay safe and be safe. And we'll see you guys in the next week for another episode. Bye-bye for now.